Hey guys, this has been what we're all waiting for, FPX versus G2 World Finals. I'm incredibly excited for this review. I legit think these are the two best teams in the world. We are getting one of the best finals. And another thing I do want to talk about is how much I favor G2 going into this series. Like, I know it ends at a 3-0 for FPX, spoiler alert. I mean, I probably should have said spoiler alert before I said the spoiler, but I was shocked when I heard G2 got 3-0'd. And I haven't seen any of the games. I haven't seen any of the drafts. So, yeah, it's going to be a really fun puzzle trying to figure out what I believed was the best team in the world. Got 3-0'd by a very effective and a very well-oiled team fighting machine. So how I viewed it is FPX had really good best of fives with previous teams because they couldn't break their systems. But G2 is the most creative, G2 is the most fluid, and G2 has the deepest champion pool out of any teams competing at World. So I felt like, well, Fnatic was a little too brittle. Well, Splice was also a little too brittle, and they only play their style. So was IG. Now we have a team like G2 who is incredibly flexible and can play pretty much everything. So I'm curious on how they're going to break down FPX. That was my outlook into looking into like how the FPX versus G2 series would go. So yeah, let's start. Syndra ban. I think G2 has Syndra ban versus them 24/7. So the curious thing is going to be watching whether or not G2 will ban Akali, because they banned Akali versus all other teams.
With big CC totals, so I don't hate the ban at all. And there's a Gragas ban here, so no red side Gragas Yasuo first round available for G2.
Kiana ban.
FPX banning some of the key flexible picks here. As
Kai'Sa ban. So Kai'Sa ban suggests that G2 wants to first pick or not G2, FPX wants to first pick Xayah. That's gonna be a really big thing. And G2 banning Kiana, cause they're red side, it's okay. I really want to see G2 open Kiana when they're back on blue side in game 2. That's going to be really important for them. So yeah, it looks like FPX going to be able to deny G2 Xayah. But if G2 bans Xayah, then they're going to go into Varus Tahm Kench. Gragas ban, I actually love the Gragas ban, especially if they don't look to first pick Gragas, because I think Gragas Rakan, the two Giga Engage champions in the meta, are so important to have on your team. When there's 5 squishy champions being played, it's extremely important to have the better Engage.
The bottom laner for G2 used to be a mid laner. Perks also can play the Syndra, and Gragas right now S tier jungler.
Big question is G2 bans Xayah or not.
Synergies in setting up.
Do you ban Xayah or not?
But this is a bit of a wild card, a Kai'Sa ban here, even though it is.
I think the ideal ban for G2 here is Nautilus, and then like they split Xayah, Kai'Sa, but now they can't do the Nautilus ban because they get Xayah for free. So I'm really curious what G2 does. If they don't ban Xayah here, like, what does FPX first pick? Actually, I have no idea, but they can take Nautilus later, which is going to be such a headache.
Premier pick. I guess they don't want to first pick it, but don't want to hand it over to Perks either.
Have to ban it, yeah.
Priority for FunPlus Phoenix is lower than
Oh
most
yeah,
teams'
Rise.
middle
Holy
draw
shit, that's what I'm
event,
forgetting
notably.
about. So Rise goes here, and then G2 can't take Nautilus, and then they can take Nautilus too. Oh, that's going to be brutal.
Famous Rise is available.
Yeah.
And that
What's your
should
counter,
be a
G2?
lock-in, because this is such a powerful pick in the current meta. It's
What's your
flexible
counter?
in
They can't
both
even run
lane
Yasuo.
setup as well as
Oh!
later on into the game.
However,
They took Nautilus over Rise? What the hell? I don't think G2 would have prioritized Rise there. Or the prioritized Nautilus there. Okay, so G2 gets Rise for free. What do you reply with?
Gonna prize the Flex Nautilus over it. The bread and butter champion, mid lane Nautilus, is synonymous with Doinb and FunPlus Phoenix.
And we should get into why it is for
Rise
a
for
lot of
sure.
players that haven't
Rise
grown
for
accustomed
sure
to
here.
FPX's style yet. Doinb is much more about pushing the wave and shoving into finding
Rise,
picks
you
or
have
team
to.
fights for his
You
team,
have to.
and he uses the utility
Varus
of Nautilus,
to deny the
especially
3.
low cooldown on the ultimate
Have to take the
force
Rise.
summoners
Okay, now I'm
from
pretty curious
elsewhere
what they
and
take.
open up areas of the map for his team to
Rise,
target.
Tahm Kench on 3.
Varus Tahm Kench,
Rise on 2,
priority
Tahm Kench on
with
3.
Kai'Sa and Xayah gone. Surely is higher than ever. Now we haven't seen it
Yeah, there we
married to
go.
the Tahm Kench every time, but it's something that's definitely to consider. That
Wow,
Rise
FunPlus
doesn't
willing
look
to give
like it's
up
gonna be
Rise.
available
Holy.
for FPX to
I
pick
didn't
up.
expect that.
And
I
like
thought
your
Rise
point
first
on the
pick for
top
sure.
ends, because you always look in the pick and ban phase to shore up the weaknesses of your earlier picks with your later picks. Tom Kench, very unique support, provides a disengage for Varus, which is a very offensive carry.
Sivir, okay.
Doesn't have any
Sivir into Varus is a classic counter.
Allow G2 crowd control and set up towards the bottom half of the map.
Here we go. Sivir actually being locked in. Very.
This is a huge flex pick for FPX, especially if they can play it into Ryze mid. Because now G2 can't ban Ryze counters. If they start banning Ryze counters that Doinb might play. I know his champion pool isn't like Cassio Ori, but let's say it is Cassio Ori, and G2 bans Cassio Ori on 4 and 5, then Nautilus goes mid, and then they pick a different support. G2 picks Tom Kench here, and then they start banning out supports like Pyke Thresh, and then Nautilus just goes support, and they draft the new mid lane. Like, the Nautilus flex pick is actually really good for FPX.
Pretty much been a peripheral 80 carry over the course of summer 2019. Another team fighting choice though, and the utility to help the Nautilus close the gap.
And two major strengths of Sivir. The spell shield to deny
There
that
it is,
possible
Tom Kench on
CC
3.
and set up in the bottom lane we just talked about, as well as Sivir's renowned wave clear. We can see if FPX can actually try and control bottom lane waves in order to open up 30-second windows for both Chris
G2 playing
Simone as well as
Kench
Doinb.
Varus
Now,
feels
here's a
really
small
weird.
question I want to put out there is that actually Chris' most played support over in the LPL was the Lux pick, as Lux support was a big champion. In Korea, we talked about how
What do you
Lux
ban G2?
papered over the weaknesses in early laning phase of a Sivir and actually made it
Let's
a
crank.
lane
Okay, so
dominant
they're
duo. In
banning
my
out
opinion,
the hook
and you're gonna
support
get
for
boomerang, and you're gonna get big burst damage
Fun
totals
Plus.
here. It'd
They're
be
probably
a
gonna ban
surprise
Thresh on
to see
5.
it brought back, and yet it's a
But that's Fun Plus
consideration,
ban.
'cause not quite the same Pyke proficiency
Jungles.
as
They
our
should ban
G2
jungles here.
brother.
So Jankos' best are Elise, Rek'Sai, Olaf. So Elise is Jankos is gonna get at least something out of Elise, Rek'Sai, Olaf. They're just gonna ban some of the two and force it onto Jankos.
I'm excited to see where it lands, and obviously with that Nautilus
Thresh ban on
expected
5
to go and
probably,
do in
because they
these
ban
hands.
Blitz.
The G2 first ban
Oh,
is
Braum
that
ban.
Blitzcrank
Okay.
as well as the Braum. So G2 thinking along the same lines. Funplex Phoenix are starting to remove some of those junglers from the pool.
Probably
Gragas,
Olaf
Elise
ban,
and Dwight.
and they can let them have
Elise
Elise?
is still
Yeah.
available, and
Elise
one of
Ryze,
the
Elise
Gangbusters
Varus,
go to
just
pick
rush marks can
Olaf
get
from
cleanse on
the pool.
people.
Let's see where he lands, Kobe.
And the reason that you can see
Elise here
Funplex
for
Phoenix
sure for G2.
trying to funnel them into
It's
that
weird,
is 'cause
and they can get
want
mercs,
heavy AP.
and it's
Because
what
Ryze was early picked,
it can
they're
be
banning
bad
them to
versus
AP
cleanse, but I think it
junglers,
has
so
to be
Rek'Sai
Elise
and
here.
Olaf, even though, as you're mentioning, Quickshot,
The only other
Elise
option is
higher
Jarvan.
on the tier list 4 junglers, it being AP weakens your top side of
Yeah,
the map then,
Elise.
because only the solo laners and the jungler have one damage type.
And G2 were basically on.
They can go one of two ways. They can do Thresh and Nautilus mid, or they can go Nautilus support and Doinb secret counter pick into Ryze. And then for top lane isolation, they can do Mordekaiser or Gangplank. GP actually lovely this game because there's so many things to cleanse, but you have to survive the early game. So Doinb secret counter pick mid lane has to be able to beat the Ryze for them to do it.
On a bound to take jungle at pick here, not just because red side counter pick, but because Ryze
There we
beats
go.
GP.
Yeah,
and that's
GP is
in
so
no
nice
single
here
champion.
because of
So it's a
being
great
able to
top lane matchup, and
orange
then
out of Tom
potentially
Kench,
have
Elise,
a
Ryze,
fiery
Varus.
double counter pick scenario going on.
And now for G2, seeing this Gangplank, I would predict an attack damage champion looking to kill the Gangplank early. No,
Give me a name.
Things like the Kled can pair with Elise to go for those dives.
I think Pyke here
If you get
is
shot,
the
you'll
better
take
pick,
off
but
of
Chris
the
probably
mount.
not practice
You can
on
reset
Pyke.
and dive very easily with Elise, who can also reset.
And of course, the gang
Ryze top
locked
secret
with
pick
that
into
connection.
Nautilus,
Very
let's see
quick
it.
hover on the Nocturne from Mickey. This is a brief shout out, not only to do
Ryze top secret counter pick into mid.
also trying to persuade them that Nocturne was
No
the
way.
to go.
Don't do
We
it.
are looking
Nocturne
for that solo
into
lane pick in the top
Pyke, what the fuck?
Okay, now this Pyke
Pyke.
could go mid, could go top.
Oh,
Hell, could
it
go
has to be a solo lane.
G2 is one of the unique teams.
It has to be a
every
solo
single
lane.
player has played Pyke.
Even the jungler Kobe, and this is a champion.
Actually, is there a chance for Tom Kench mid versus Nautilus?
Around the world, Paris losing their mind.
Melee
That's
champion
attack
beats
damage
another
bonus
melee
now.
champion.
You're right.
That is attack damage for you. Looks like at the last second, you have to wait
Pyke
till 20
top
seconds
into
actually
GP.
for the last swap to come through.
Pyke
But
top
it could
into
be either
GP.
of the solo laners here.
Expecting it to be a mid lane choice as Ryze beats Gangplank. Waiting for it. We get the confirmation. Will be Pyke mid
Okay,
lane
Pyke into
against
Nautilus.
Final plus Phoenix versus
Wow,
G2.
solo lane Pyke is so hard to pull off now because you don't do damage to creeps with Z. You don't have AoE clear. So until you get Tiamat, it's even hard to roam.
Now, we have to go over some of the unique things about Pyke because it was even nerfed
Wow,
since
this
G2
is-
last used it in a prolific manner among all these lanes. The AoE is much less so. This Pyke is not about winning lanes, by the way. This is about the roam game. Caps and Doinby setting up teammates, sharing gold, and creating
Well, if
plays.
G2 have any picks safe for World Finals, they better fucking start using them. G2. Oh. Let's go.
And welcome back to the 2019 League of Legends World Championships. Coming into this game, we anticipated some differences in decision
No way.
making in
No
game.
fucking way. Please don't do this to me. Oh my god, I feel bad for the fans that had to pause for game 1 of finals. It's so anticlimactic. Oh my god, it's a long pause too.
Responding, and after installing his backup keyboard, the issue is resolved. We are back on Summoner's Rift for the 2019 World Final. Kobe and Papa Smithy, thank you so much for setting up those expectations on both team comps. Papa, can I ask for a quick refresher? Because it was about 5 minutes ago that we lost.
All the NA fans that were staying up and then they get dealt a 10-minute pause. Poor babies.
It's at the price
Oh.
of early.
Let's actually talk about the comps. So, really important thing for G2, dive the gangplank. It's super fucking important. GP's laning is actually not that bad. GP is very similar to Kale, where people have the kind of image that GP and Kale are weak early. Kale is definitely a lot weaker than GP early, but both these champions have multiple range tools with GP, Q, and barrels. So, and also when he takes Graph and when you start corrupting, Whippo showed it, but being able to use Time Warp Tonic Mastery while you're drinking Corrupting level 1, while you have your passive, while you have your Grasp, you're actually an extremely strong champion in terms of trading. So GP laning not that bad and he scales really well, but the things he's bad at is wave control earlier on. Because his barrels take such a long time to proc and explode. If you can build multiple waves, like you can actually easily dive GP with range champions like Wonder has with Rise, who is able to shove lane and control lane very easily. So Rise Elise is actually a really dangerous dive combo. I mean, because Rise has guaranteed root, Elise can follow up with her Cocoon. Also, Elise can start the tower dive and reset aggro with her Repel. Like, it's a really dangerous duo. So there's going to be a huge emphasis on how easily or how preventable the early dive is for top lane for FPX. I am not sure how Pyke is going to fit into this. One thing I can tell you is the Pyke is looking to roam. He's running Predator with Teleport, so he's not looking to kill the Nautilus at all. If you're looking to kill the Nautilus, you have a different setup. This is a Pyke build and a Pyke setup that's just designed to roam. He actually even started boots, so yeah, we're going to see a lot of roam from Caps. But to roam, you need to get wave control. So if they're not able to get wave control, it's going to be problematic for Caps. And I'm just not going to lie to you guys. I don't know how the Nautilus Pyke matchup goes. Pyke has way worse wave clear than Nautilus at the current state, so it's going to require ganks also. There's a lot of burden on Yankos to get the solo laners going. As for bot lane, it's very naturally good into Sivir in terms of laning, but later on in the game, where Sivir starts outscaling Varus and Sivir can ignore Varus R with her E, and Varus doesn't have catch potential on Sivir, that's where Sivir starts to shine a lot, and especially in mid lane too, because in a 1-3-1 situation, that's where Varus can shine, because he can root whoever's in the mid lane, but that doesn't work versus Sivir, and Sivir has extremely good wave clear and will outscale. So I think overall, G2 has to snowball early from top side of the map, while keeping bot lane winning and neutral and making sure Chris can't roam. But yeah, really look at where Elise is doing, if she can activate mid lane, if she can dive top, and also really look at Crisp roaming. Crisp and Mickey roaming. That's going to be the important points.
Laning phase. I think there's a lot of inroads that can be made in top and bot lane here for G2. As Kingoon finds one.
Oh.
Wave will find him down. Flash is
Oh my god, the VOD is bugging.
Just yet, they're not needed. And it should take some down.
Free grass procs for GP.
Now it's incredibly
Oh,
look at the
they also invaded late enough where Wonder can't take a recall, so he has to burn pot and he can't take a recall. And
aftermath of this
G2 counter invading bot side.
Here, FPX trying to invade on the top
Remember
side.
what we talked about, the top side being really important for G2 to dive? When they split the map like this, it's impossible. And vice versa, playing for a Tahm Kench lane is ass, because Tahm Kench can't really pressure lanes. The only thing Tahm Kench can do is roam, but Tahm Kench roams don't feel that strong. So when the map is split this way, and this is G2, and this is FPX, this is so good for FPX because it protects the GP really well. FPX loves this map split.
And take away red buff here. G2 doing the same on bottom side. Defensive vision has been in place.
This is so good for FPX,
Very
this
often
map
that we'll
split.
see FPX go for these lane splitting strategies at the cost of their bot lane, but with Sivir Thresh, you weren't expecting lane dominance anyway, so they seem to be wanting to give breathing room to the gangplank. Ryze can't take aggressive trades with no jungler top side.
It's exactly as we mentioned in Champion Select. The gangplank is very vulnerable to dives early on. Ryze can use the range advantage and go for that. But
Oh,
on the side of
Chris.
the map, FPX are trying to
Oh,
defend
denying
against
Crocs.
the even split map. Usually you'll have red traded for red.
Like, normally, oh my god, the bot is pausing again. Normally,
One with the
usually the relationship is junglers help the laners. Jungle, you are the lane servant. Make sure the laners are ahead and let the laners carry, and you turn into a small playmaking tool later on. But nowadays, with how strong jungle is and how important early game tempo for junglers are, it's been laners, you are a servant of the jungle early game. Help your jungler get ahead, and this is the kind of thing that's showing. By doing this, you give up all priority in lane. I mean, you have to give up priority because it's a bot lane split, but it's really nice, like the jungler being able to, or the support being able to mess with the Crux.
most experience and gold on it in the entire map.
Actually, in the G2 Griffin series in groups, saw how a delay in scenarios like this can have huge cascading effects on lanes as the jungler isn't there at level 3 at the same time. Back in bot lane, LWX and Chris just being super respectful as Doinby's already walking.
While they're being respectful in game, Perks was not too respectful out of game.
Wow.
Doinby won't even be the second best mid in the final.
Level 2
Carlos
roam.
reiterated that, but if you look at the minimap, Doinby has already roamed very early on. I'm looking at the minions, Kobe, and Wonder's still under pressure. Tian's one nearby.
This is just
Doinby's
so
on
nice
the
for
lane.
gameplay.
It's really worth highlighting how top laners play when they do not have pressure, when their jungler is the opposite side of the map.
Wonder, he didn't go forward for the chase. Tian is still nearby.
Oh, he's
And it's highlighted
what?
because
What?
Wonder
This
knows
GP is
that
missing
this is a
minions. Oh, what's wrong with this
Also,
VOD?
here in the minimap, Doinby has
Is it
started
just
to move.
LOL event boss or other
Tian
problems?
has the wave. He's got himself the red buff. There's the overload. Teleport starting to come in. This is a 3 versus 1. Wonder's got mana. He's got flash, but it's a reply already. There's the root down. Wonder.
What? Oh my god.
FPX. Caps gets a stun under the
Too
tower.
insane of a
Doinby
dive.
still doesn't go down.
They can
Now
still
Caps
kill
is in trouble.
Caps. They can still kill
Plus,
Caps.
Phoenix are looking for the double. Caps
Wonder
are trying
missing
to slip
huge
to
wave.
safety. Teleport begins to channel in the top lane. Wonder joins, but FPX are on the ball.
And two things to look in the aftermath. The teleport's both used there, but the big minion wave also forces Wonder to teleport back.
Alright. Editor, edit this. 332. 332. Let's go to LOL Esports bots instead. 332. 332 in game time. 332 in game time. Sorry about that, guys. 332 in game
You're
time.
going on the map. And movements for GP.
332 in game time.
FPX are on the ball.
And
Okay.
two things to look in the aftermath. The teleport's both used there, but the big minion wave also forces Wonder to teleport back. You can see Caps actually now rotating around for a possible answer here.
Looking to interrupt it back if he can, but for now it will be a blue buff.
But that dive is so bad for Wonder. Like, remember we talked about how there's an onus on Wonder and Yankos to dive topside, but instead now Wonder's the one getting dive. It, like, the relationship flipped. It's so good for FPX, and GP is going to be in such a nice spot, and there's going to be onus on G2 to roam around. Dude, I cannot believe Doinby saw that dive was possible. Holy fuck. Level 3, 3-man dive topside.
And walk his way there, but because they needed the extra second, starts teleporting on the minion under tower, even though he had made it halfway up the map. As you can see now, he's almost there already, but they know that because
Man, Wonder tried to clear this wave, but Doinby was TPing on the creep that the turret was hitting, so the wave isn't even getting cleared out.
Caps is going to answer.
Also, Gimgun blocking and hit the Q, took the Q. I'm not sure if it was on purpose, but him doing that makes the minions stay alive too longer.
Second flashes in, then you can have the W from Tian to guarantee.
Aftershock Nautilus tanking.
Just really nicely
Feels good, man.
Coordinated here by FPX.
But a very extended setup. That's the FPX.
If also
way.
that Q hit on Caps, that's a nightmare situation.
Put up the spears and say, you're in trouble. Just give me a second to fully set this up. G2 are usually more instant about their plays, but this time,
I think the big point there is like they're willing to dive even when they see the TP. Like most teams don't take that dive when they see the TP. Oh no, he doesn't have flash. He doesn't have flash. This is a kill. This is a kill. They're gonna give it to GP. Oh! I guess Yankos was coming, so they couldn't give it to GP, but giving the kill to GP there is so big.
And it's a different look. They haven't gone mid lane to try to work with the Nautilus.
Bot side can't abuse. They have Varus Tom Kench. Varus Tom Kench can't abuse the same way. Oh my god. This hook, you're gonna have to, yeah. Tank, Doinby tank, Doinby tank. Oh, so brutal.
And look at the pace that FPX
So
are
brutal.
setting here.
Now on the rebirth for G2, they can't do anything bot side, right? FPX is dominating top side, but you have a Tom Kench Varus into Sivir Thresh. What are you gonna do? There's 10 CS differential, but that's so meaningless compared to what's going on top side. Like they're blowing Wonder out of the game, and they're making Rise irrelevant while letting their GP scale. And like the Sivir Varus, like this matchup won't fundamentally change, where the top side, the matchup will fundamentally change. I think the only thing that can bring G2 back into the game is like Caps hitting level 6 or him getting a roam bottom even before level 6. Like that's the only thing. I don't think they can turn things from top side of the map anymore.
Not letting G2 reset from the loss of pressure that they've accrued on top side. They keep chaining play after play into G2's weakness. This is something that both of these teams have been so good at once they get an early lead, and FPX mining that top side advantage so heavily.
And it means that the kill involvements for GP puts them in basically parity, maybe a small lead. Over the rise here, trades are still going to be very one-sided to Wonder, but it's definitely
another thing I'm guessing is like Nautilus mid must be really good into Rise mid.
I like the attitude from FPX. They're not trying to defend where they are weak. They are attacking G2 to force them to change their game.
Because that's something they could have done, but they opted not into. So, yeah, it has to be that way where Rise mid is bad into Nautilus, so they're not willing to do it.
That's a lot of minions denied. Plus 10 CS for now, and as it stands, even on levels. Yankos is looking for the cocoon into the bush and he won't find it. So G2 will be content with pushing back the pressure. They are still down 700 gold, but Papa Smithy, they concede the Drake. So great heads-up play from FPX.
Both teams kind of ahead of
This is very typical of G2, giving up Draga and trying to get into a better map state.
Often playing on the weak side. Hasn't been that way so far this game, but they're reading the change in tempo, the way the wind is blowing. When it comes to the aggression, they'll take the Drake at Crisp.
Oh, death sentence comes down, as goes the boomerang blade. Mickey's waiting by with the Devour. Piercing arrow tags. Chris, I'm keeping my eyes on Tian to see if he wants to go under the tower. Flashes available for both bot laners on G2 sides.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nerfs to Tom Kench was the cooldown on the Devour there, so it does open up a bigger window early game. But as you can see, we're highlighting now, back to Champions League, where we talk about the Varus and Tom Kench.
Just Gimgun not dying and being able to play the game itself is good for FPX. He was versus a Rise Elise, and he didn't get dope at all. That itself is good for him.
Still be re-entered this game. It's usually boots and mobility first back from lane for Crisp, where we do see that trio mid lane. Might be a duo because Tian's level 6.
Exactly. You have to keep tracking the junglers. This game is so much about playing where you have the numbers advantage. And the one that moves first is able to open up that opportunity of chaining across the map.
Total cold. Number 1 Lee.
Because Papa Smithy, if you remember back at MSI,
Oh, these... Yeah, this is my problem with the Pyke pick. you can't out pressure the Nautilus in mid lane. Like, you can't roam until you can start clearing mid. And because the Pyke didn't get ahead and he couldn't get Tiamat early, he can't clear the wave. Like, you get shoved in so easily. So I'm not sure how this Pyke pick is supposed to work into a Nautilus. You get pushed in, Nautilus roam first, and then you have to follow the roam. Even with Tiamat, like, your wave clear is going to be worse than Nautilus. So I really genuinely do not understand the Pyke pick.
Behind SKT, and it was the Pyke mid-game plays that brought them back into it. Right now, Caps is not activated. The first one to leave mid is doing
A huge thing for G2 is Caps affecting other lanes.
Come up with the help of Tian, and there's plates being taken down.
And we're seeing the exact opposite play here. It is push up through a big minion wave. Seeing that, Wonder backs off. There's a roam up through the jungle from both Doinby as well as Tian. That means G2 know on the bottom
G2
side.
making a counter,
they did
like
lose
the
a
counter dive
minion
play
wave on top
bottom.
side, but they're going to try and deny that same minion wave on bottom.
And you notice Perks actually has a back timing here rather than trying to cash in plates. So plate gold is certainly not going to be equalized. I actually don't want the minions to push down this plate, otherwise Perks would not get involvement. All the gold goes to Tom Kench, and he backs now.
This game is really highlighting that ebb and flow of pressure. Once again, the flow now on the side of FPX. If they have
Wonder,
overloaded
can't
top
farm.
side.
I was a huge fan of some of the
Can't
missing
farm.
pings there from G2, Kobe. You talked about
Nautilus
overloading
always
topside.
moving
G2 aware
first.
of it. Missing pings.
G2
And
solo
Tian was
laners are out of
seeing
commission,
the
so is
Doinby
G2's jungle.
would have roam. Doinby, by
The
way,
only
plus
thing,
50
only lane
CS.
doing anything right now is
Moby
bot
boots
lane.
just completed.
But not,
So
or
I'm
Tom
expecting
Kitch room
more
is fucking
roaming to
worthless
the
compared
And
to
that's when
Thresh
you
room.
start clicking your fingers, because you should mention that with the Tiamat, Pyke can actually push out.
G2's
Doesn't just
losing
go into
on
huge
a
CS
lot of
roll,
parts of the
has been
map.
So far about 20 CS and match, because the Nautilus having the ability of the earlier roam on the Moby Boots rush means that Predator Pyke has actually been caught farming in mid lane a lot.
Yeah, this is so exciting to me because we're seeing the peak of fluid League of Legends where it's all in on roaming around. You know, first couple of item purchases.
Pyke pick
for
finally
Caps
has the
to highlight
Tiamat.
that strategy. Now bottom, will they go for the dive on Perks? There's no Tom Kench.
There's no Tom Kench right now. Perks has done some work to clear the minion wave out. I think the piercing arrow did its job. He held on to the hail of arrows. Dredgeline will catch out Mickey. Blast cone sends Doinby away.
Awkward position for
Now, all
Mickey.
of a sudden, how did Tian go down?
Damn,
I didn't
how did
even
Perks
see it
catch
happen.
Tian there?
G2 on the board.
FPX
And they
disconnected
caught him
and
with
trying to
the
make
Barret
plays
ult, but I'm
in
not
two
sure how they caught
areas
him.
While the Nautilus was taken. Speaking of Nautilus,
All right, the cocoon lands onto the target. Abyssal Voyage is going to be cancelled. Mickey was looking for the dive. Did he catch a quick glimpse on how Tian was caught on, and so crucially for G2, it's Perks that picks it up.
Yeah, beautiful chain of corruption there from Perks to lock him down. That was a big difference in power too, because it was completed jungle item for Tian, while only pieces for Jankos, and Perks makes a big play for G2.
All right, we need to find the cocoon from Jankos. Chris is aware of the situation, and he plays the defensive Thresh, more than a screen away, throwing down that lantern to safety. Gimgoon takes a good trade in favor of Wonder, and now all of a sudden, Tian again present on the map. He has been everywhere this game.
Yep, looks like he's headed top again with Doinby here as they push mid and look for another opportunity. Here you go, Trevor. Asking you shall receive. Perks able to land the corrupting chains right on the Gromp. And then, of
TM played
course,
greedy.
Caps is there to ensure that they get it.
and this is a
Damn.
tendency that I'm sure G2's
Perks
coaching
reacts
staff
so
have
quickly.
noted, is
Jesus.
that when they go for these plays, when they threaten the dives, they tend to stay around for a long time and check a second time, a third time. They're definitely the sort to check the weather report multiple times before planning an outing. This time caught a little bit there, and that pick does reset some of the good work by FPX.
All right, Jankos waiting in the bushes. Yeah, the gold is just about even.
G2 has a little bit of a timing.
Caught up. The cocoon into the tongue lash, but he's caught.
It doesn't matter.
Chris goes in with a death sentence.
G2's the one opening the fight, but they're opening it on Nautilus. Really does not matter.
There goes Cap. Death from below gets interrupted. That was a fantastic stopwatch.
Wow,
FPX
the stopwatch
is
was insane,
really
though.
gonna have some of the best team.
The way that fight started, just look at how that fight is starting. It's G2 like starting it. Like imagine just normal champions for G2 and normal champions for FPX. Mickey X would what? Be a Nautilus, be a Rakan, and then the mid laner would be something squishy, right? What would the mid laner be? Like what are some common mid laners right now? Like Syndra, Ryze, what else is like really common? Or even like Kiana. Like a squishy mid laner checks in here, gets cocooned, and Elise is following up. And then the support that has CC also going on the squishy mid laner. Instead, they're going on a Nautilus. Nautilus is the one checking in first. so Nautilus isn't taking damage, and it's actually G2 that's sent like walking away. So like the picks that FPX does has its benefits, and also G2 is playing a comp that they normally don't play. Like this catch play that G2 does with Jankos and Mickey is with different champions normally, and that's actually a really big thing.
Caught out the cocoon into the tongue lash, but he's caught by the
They're the ones starting to find, but they're the ones getting fucked. Oh, really good hook from Caps. Oh, that flash and stopwatch was so good.
FPX escape. We are going to have some of the best team fights this planet and game has ever seen, as both of these teams are trading blow for blow.
A lot of tools used by both teams, we have to remember, so very opportunistic. The Tian to start up the Rift Herald. That's not going to be a goer for now, and FPX back off.
Yeah, that was very close to death for Chris. You mentioned quick shot, the stopwatch they had to use, and then immediately he had to flash coming out of it because Perks almost timed a Q from Varus to be able to finish him off afterwards. Now,
this is like really important time for Pyke, where the Pyke has Tiamat, can start roaming around, can affect the map.
G2 Esports are pushing forward. Tian is still stuck in the bush. He's got the Dragon's Rage available. If Perks continues to step forward, and he does. He's caught by the Dragon's Rage. The kick throws him over the tower. And LW picks up the kill. It's not done yet.
That was kind of troll.
From Jankos may have just saved Mickey's life. Doinb continues to change. He dredge lines a little spiraling, and now all of a sudden Caps is waiting.
Mickey was a little far away for Perks to play that up.
And it's going to get spotted out here as he steps forward. Now, all of a sudden, Jankos is the one caught by the Q.
Ding,
Those
ding.
spiderlings doing some work for Doinb.
What are you going to do? Go on the Nautilus? What are you going to do? Go on the Nautilus?
FPX, 1,000 gold up, 3 kills to 1. And they
Wow, Nautilus mid never felt this OP.
The highlight. Getting credit here for the brush attempt from him. Chris
Perks had to know that Chris was going to hook him there. And the fact that Mickey is so far is also really weird.
Able to land the hook and set the whole thing up, but
Kick,
because Ken is there, he safeguards in. Dragon kick back, getting the kill, and also chasing down the rest of G2 members, thus not letting them get the play on the map. Here we go, they're all headed mid.
Very cheeky play from Caps, waits for the mini wave to go
starting
down,
on the Nautilus.
Flashes away to safety. The Riptide from Doinb. You don't need to see him when you've got AoE. Now Mickey continues to chase forward. Realm Warp from Wonder, dredge line to safety, but you can't get away
killed Doinb.
from the Rise Q. Jankos goes up and goes down. Perks has rejoined.
Just the Tompkins pick feels worthless, the Pyke pick feels worthless. In a game that's so much about playmaking and moving around the map first, the Pyke and Kench pick both are problematic for G2.
In this game, always the backup. The grouping phase started about 8 minutes into game number 1. Man, the darkness in this game, we don't need a Nocturne for it to be just so scary.
You have to consistently move your eyes towards the next objective. Chris right now is setting up the vision game for the setup here on Ocean Drake. FPX are on attack once again.
Take a look at the CS differences, by the way. 123 in the mid lane for Doinb. That superior push early has accrued him a 40 CS advantage. G2 will be taking the Rift Herald in the top lane, while another Dragon is secured by FPX in the bottom, and Wonder and Caps under some pressure if FPX decide to push. So Herald secured, it's still 1,000 gold game. Kobe and the second Dragon picked up by FPX.
I like this move from G2 because they're trying to get the Rift Herald on top side in exchange for the Dragon.
G2's trying to do what they did versus SKT, which is we're losing right now, so we need to make cross-map plays. But FPX is a much more proactive team compared to SKT.
They pick up an easy kill. They'll be able to pick up the tower, but the tower first blood bonus goes to G2 Esports with the help of the Rift Herald. Keep in mind, it's still a 1,400 gold difference, Papa Smithy.
A gold in different corners, but remember, this is a very healthy Rift Herald. Could be 2 turrets here.
This is actually a decent trade for G2. G2's gonna get 2 turrets.
You can see FPX
2 for 2, not bad at all. In a losing spot, 2 for 2. The only thing that's bad is Ryze is getting fucked in the game. Other than Ryze getting fucked, this is not bad for G2.
Before FPX had even broken the secondary turret.
And it's even more big than that. They've been behind this entire game, behind the skirmish, behind the 8-ball, and they are losing the turret tempo race. They're getting
the open top.
As this Rift Herald draws a huge cheer from the Paris crowd.
Paris are loving it. It's 5 kills to 2, but make no mistake, FPX are currently in control. As we now transition into the mid-game phase where a lot of skirmishes and fights can break out. Kobe, I have to ask, FPX, you said they were a mid to late game team fight team. They have to feel happy with the lead they've generated already.
FPX
Oh
is very
no.
happy right now because they have
Wonder,
Force
take it
on
slow.
Game Link level
Take
11
it slow,
for the level
Wonder.
2 ultimate that can come through.
Really
So all
good
they
game
have to
sense.
do is
Holy
give
shit,
that
if he checked
Sivir
in there.
speed boost to the Nautilus Thresh and look for those 2 hooks onto G2. Now G2 has a harder deal, but they found a pick of their own.
Yeah, they absolutely have. That will be secured by Perks.
Perks is actually making so much
He
picks.
arrives just in the nick of time. Now this will give some pressure into the mid lane.
His Varus better than I expected it to be.
Timing, Trevor. Every pick
He's
is
doing his
another
job. Win
20
bot lane,
seconds
make
of
picks.
extra pressure, and G2 will use that to try and get half of mid turret, maybe even the full thing.
The Dredge Knight doesn't find a target.
Don't be not
Maybe
walking
wants
up.
to be
No, he
happy.
can't.
Death from below thrown out from a Caps. And that's the tower lead now in favor of G2. The gold lead as well. And one simple ward,
The Pyke pick is still kind of bad
And
because
that's the thing that
Pyke is like a
G2
snowball
have,
champion. You have
regardless
to
of
snowball,
gold lane
especially in mid
and
lane.
skewers there
If you don't
too.
snowball,
So Doin B that Caps is around.
you're
Is
just
they have an insane
not that
pick
great.
coming.
You're not really
Shrouded
doing
in
things.
darkness, they get those picks and they subvert team fights. Here we go.
Yeah, there are 2 realm warps coming up, but it interrupts.
Sorry, Wonder.
That's already a kill onto Wonder. LWX threw down the ultimate. 6 kills to 3.
Just imagine playing Rise versus Lee, Nautilus, Sivir, and a Thresh. You don't want to be like in mid lane. You don't want to be in river. The only thing Rise wants to be doing is in a side lane. I'm not sure why Wonder was here actually, but try to check. Wonder should be in a side lane much as possible.
Regardless of gold lead, as a bone skewers there just to show
There's no
Doin
reason for him to be here. They already used their big pick tools. I'm not sure why he
that
showed.
Caps is around. Is they have an
Him showing here
insane pick come if they're ever
just to throw that
shrouded
Q
in
itself was
darkness,
troll.
They get those picks and they subvert team fights. Here we go.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Yeah, he should just be walking to a side lane, either top or bot. Just him showing there was troll.
Warps coming up, but it interrupted. That's already a kill onto Wonder. LWX threw down the ultimate. 6 kills to 3.
He just went there to say hi and shoot a Q.
Irrelevant right now. Gimgoon, however, will equalize the towers. And if you look at the minimap, there's a lot of wards in the northern quadrant in favor of LPX.
And look at these 2 teams going blow for blow. Quick shot, 1 pick into a turret. Answer here from FPX as soon as they see Wonder in the river. The flash, no hesitation from Crisp to answer it and get exact same back. Now G2, power play on bottom half.
And look, there's just not much gold to separate, even though you'd love it as an FPX fan. It's only about 1,000 gold between the 2 teams we see where it's centered. A lot of that Rift Herald play has reset what was just a growing snowballing lead
covering.
in terms of map play and also just gold lead from the side of FPX.
Now, I'm very interested to see how these next 5 to 10 minutes play out, because when G2 Esports fell behind
G2
SKT
not
in the
that terrible in
semifinals,
terms of map
they found
state.
crucial team fights
But
to
one
bring
thing they have to
themselves
worry
back
about
into
is
the game.
FPX has
I feel
insane
like at
catch
this
potential on
tournament,
them.
FPX is a different beast, and it will be a more
And G2
difficult
doesn't have a
challenge
strong
for
enough
G2.
split pusher where they can spread FPX thin.
Champions that your enemy has drafted here. And G2 have a lot to highlight because they've got Rise for side lane. They've got the Predator.
They need the Rise to be strong, but the Rise is so weak.
So if they can rotate
They can't run a 1-3-1. Rise can't split push properly. Hard to get mid control because it's versus Sivir. I don't see the clear G2 win condition in like terms of what they need to be doing. Good side lane play probably off of Rise and Elise is the best shot they have. But it's the GP with MR, GP with Orange.
Having your AD carry in mid lane clearing waves with the mid turret and without.
Oh my god, Chris. What the?
Oh, it takes so much damage when you miss the skill shot. You can't go.
Damn, look at
Having
this.
your AD carry in mid lane clearing waves with the mid turret and without.
Dodges the
That's
skill
going for
shot,
play
gets the
under
E,
tower.
almost gets the hook too. Just like these small interactions. Usually like the mid lane will dominate the support in terms of like mechanics. And whenever your support is put in a position where they have to play what I like to call finger war versus the enemy mid laner, the support gets blown out, right? But Crisp actually matching one of G2's strongest player in terms of mechanics. And he does this on a consistent basis.
When you miss the skill shot, you can't go for those dives. And Caps walks away with his tail between his legs.
All right, here we are. A power play on the blue buff side of the map.
Like imagine normal teams, and then you make them get into like a finger war, where you try to dodge a skill shot and I try to dodge a skill shot. Like it's favorable for the mid laner by far. Oh, losing the finger war there.
That's a death from below as G2 will even the goal, but what can they take?
They can start up the Drake here and stop the snowballing. G2 are so smart at sussing out these combat puzzles that often games of League of Legends in this meta turn into. The moment they got an inkling.
I call it finger war. Papa Smethy calls it combat puzzle.
And once again,
Potato,
vision
potato.
will be so important because both of these teams rely on the picks.
Chain of corruption will tag doing B. Dredgeline pulls him to safety. The cocoon from Yankos. It will not secure the kill. It will not secure another. It's 20 minutes.
What other champion survives in that case? The only thing that survives is Nautilus with 2 dashes with the Q and the ult for CC and the tankiness with Aftershock. Such a broken champ.
On the map. These is such
I cannot believe I'm sitting here telling you guys Nautilus mid is broken.
Continue trading blow for blow.
And I want to highlight what's not on your screen is the mini map. Both side lanes pushing in opposite directions here for G2 as well as FPX. We mentioned these teams have a lot of similar strengths. So while the mid core of both teams are looking for the picks with the Elise, with the Varus there, with the Tom Kench, they are also trying to get the side lane pushing in their advantage to get the extra standing goal.
And I love that you pointed out with the arrow there, because it's the sort of thing that's lost. Because people say, oh, it's a death match. Oh, they're just fighting all the time. But it's the setup and the side lanes that allows them to
This is
happen.
called the shadow play.
Oh, fantastic setup, Papa Smithy. Teleport comes in. FPX have still got a numbers advantage. Crisp will and captures in so much.
Caps.
He's going to get taken out.
Oh my god! Damn, that was so nice by Wonder. Kenchi, Kenchi. Pyke still has ult. Sivir coming in.
Caps tries to escape, goes for a swim and does so for now. G2 get up, but FPX's play to set it up managed to avoid defeat.
This is definitely a World Championship game. Quick shot, so close. The margin of error here. Caps able to just utilize the full mobility of Pyke to get into the edge of the Realm Warp as it was about to disappear. Now it's a reset as they're trying to hold lane though.
I'll take a look at the minimap there. A lot of members of FPX sitting in the northern quadrant as Caps catches the top lane wave. He sees FPX on top of that control ward, and now G2 looking for a hunt. Baron won't get tagged by the skewer, nor will another champion. And the volatile spiraling goes wild.
Don't be has ult now. They're so ready to fight.
They're the ones that have the split push going for them. They've got Gimgoon on the
GP. Oh, never mind. GP actually on bot side.
So G2 trying to force them off of Baron, but FPX gaining 1 extra lane of momentum.
And you look at the wards here, you can see that G2 are leaving the vision behind as they fish. FPX going to go to bot lane here. The flash was
I don't think Pyke as a champion is bad, but I think Pyke as a champion is like...
Exactly, because he got slowed down there, even with the mobility of Pyke.
I think Pyke is bad as a mid lane because he can't push, and we saw how pushing was so important earlier on.
Caps manages to make it out. He, by the way, 1, 1, and 3, just sitting on 1.5 items for now. But G2 has
like Nautilus is basically a better version of Pyke in terms of early game and prio, and also tanky. Just Pyke mid is so weird. Why?
As we have already seen, is what's going to dictate who comes out on top.
But Trevor, I feel like
you were given an entire week to think of picks into Nautilus, and the pick you thought about into Nautilus was Pyke.
Those were the fundamentals that allowed them to stay competitive against SKT in the first game of the semi-final. They are so smart about always playing the side lanes and keeping competitive in CS numbers, which keeps them competitive in gold.
And remember, people should not just look at gold because there are other things. Gangplank extra gold, Pyke shares extra gold with the ultimate. Here is a setup though. What's very important is the
I really hope I get to interview G2 members after.
Chain of corruption tags a target. There's no follow-up. Remember, if G2 pick a fight in the Baron pit against Nautilus, Sivir, Gangplank, that's not really a place you want to be. Cannon Barrage is available, and Chain of Corruption was just used. So Gimgoon steps up to the plate, does not find a fight yet. But one of the things And we are seeing is FPX need to find an answer. When G2 put pressure down, they are gaining a few more benefits outside of just the Dragons, but it's FPX with control of the Baron picks.
And while these teams are very similar, there are some key differences where G2 have very good burst damage, more for single target. FPX have a lot of AoE that they can try and bring to brunt. This is what you want to do if you can funnel
Both
the
teams,
enemy team
what if
into a
they're starting to
smaller
get control of
corridor where
Baron?
They can actually get more value there.
Another difference is the fact that Rise will just outmatch any opponent in the side lane as the scaling comes up. Another 6 minutes.
Let's see if
on the
GP
Rocket
can
Vegas
handle
to
Rise now.
complete that. So even with some
That
magic
might give
moves
G2 a win
incrementally
condition
put in,
if
they're gonna
Rise can
have
beat
to
GP in a
try
side lane
to
and
force
start
those guys to
pressuring
maybe
GP really hard.
overforce, as otherwise Wonder will take side lane objectives.
Love this point because if you can open up the map, Papa Smithy, one of my favorite strategies that has evolved over the years is the trailing split pusher. And Caps is on a perfect champion to play that role. If you hover behind the split pushing Rise and the opponent send 2 people, you surprise, you go for the burst kill.
We have to align on the language. I call it piggyback ganks, where you
There you
both
go.
have TP to piggyback over.
Let me
to
on!
the top lane side. Here we go.
I'm a fan of the piggyback gang.
G2 doing their traditional, like, patented 5-man reset.
Is definitely going to benefit them as they want to continue to move around.
G2 really wants to start getting control now. 3 items on Perks, 2 items on Yankoth, Wonder finish to Seraph. Like, this is where G2 feels really fucking comfortable, and they know, like, they need to do something. It's a really strong power spike for them. The Pyke is going to start falling off. So, yeah. G2 does something here and gets the lead and can get Baron and blow open the game, or this is where they lose the game.
FPX ward, but important to note the synchronized recalls on the side of G2 allows them to group up on the map, push back for some control around that Baron pit. And now we're moving into this Baron phase of the game.
And for chaotic teamfights, one thing that you should look for as a G2 fan is the fact that we have a Rage Blade build here coming through from Perks. He actually needs to warm up on a minion wave or targets before he actually gets that double hit passive and gets going in a team fight. And this is a sort of game with as many threats as there are that you actually need a certain type of terrain to fight around to get that amount of time.
And also, when you are thinking through these possible picks and these possible team fights, you actually have to opt into who is going to burn cooldowns from your opponent. Because there are so many critical ones and squishy members on the team, if you are G2, you're looking at Yankos. He's got the fully completed Zhonya's, and Elise also has Repel built in.
G2's game plan after resetting was get Sneaky Vision, which they did. They put wards in places, especially this one actually. These two are going to get flopped out, but they got Sneaky Vision. But those Sneaky Vision, I'm not sure how it's going to help them. Pyke and Rise are both bad champions to be flanking with. What is going to be their endgame win condition? Rise split pushing, drawing someone. Pyke probably matching behind the Rise. And then both teleport onto the Sneaky Vision if they need to.
So while not a tank, you do want the Elise to bait out some of those big cooldowns. If you repel a Nautilus ultimate, it changes the game for your team. They also
Someone
have to
needs to be
talk
behind
about
the Rise if they're going to
positioning
use
of
Rise
Mickey with
proactively.
rest. So continually press tab, look for these stopwatches, look for these
What are they
zone
doing?
positions,
It's
but also the positioning on the members with that stasis.
And when it comes to these vision wars, where someone puts down their wards, they have to back away and reset the wards and go and buy, when the enemy can then take over vision, I actually think FPX will struggle to reclaim vision against a G2 camp, because even the Lantern, control ward down, you're going to be caught going for a face check, and you already mentioned G2 have multiple ways to make them untargetable, like the Repel and like the Tahm Kench Devour.
Now there is one thing that is always a huge benefit on the side of FPX, outside of just doing B, setting up
Bye,
a
Mickey.
fantastic play. The Protobelt into the hook, and Mickey gets chunked out. While that's going on,
Rise can't beat the GP either. That's a huge problem.
Lane, FPX
2 huge problems for G2. They're going to start losing mid control. They don't win the team fight. And another problem, Rise can't beat the GP. They don't have a normal win condition, and they have to get tricky. They have to do something like Pyke behind the Rise, kill GP as 2v1 while both of them have teleport up, or Tahm Kench port bot side with someone, and then be able to kill the GP. They can't win team fights, so they have to find creative ways to kill the GP or make a pick, but now G2's on definitely a back foot.
have found themselves a gigantic advantage on two sides of the map. Also important to note, rapid fire cannon picked up by LWX. The 600 CS Civil win condition is always a possibility.
Quick shot, the rewards for that pick are enormous. Mid-tower, the last of the outer defenses going down for G2, make it incredibly more difficult to try and defend in the vision wars around Baron. That was Doinby using the Proto Belt to get into range to try and land the hook onto Mickey. What a big critical play from the star player of FPX.
And a 27-minute mid lane turret doesn't sound like a big thing, but Kobe, you're right on the money. Look at this Siege comp. They've got almost no range on the side of FPX, so they needed a pick like that to ever actually get the turret that's core to Baron defenses, that mid lane out.
All right, Gimgoon will now run into Wonder. Both of them level 15. Wonder got the first trade, but doesn't follow up with any more. And outside of just clearing out the vision, FPX weren't able to get more than the tower. It is a huge win for them. Doinby making the move that counts.
Yeah, I mean, people have criticized the champion pool for
This
so
game's
long.
bad.
You know, some people advocates and want
G2 doesn't have a normal way to win now.
improving his style.
We have to look for like a
Proof
giga
right
outplay
there
from
in
G2.
that play. This is why he plays these types of champions, to create openings for his team in this case. Now, FPX have to look to the next step for themselves.
Sivir
They want
3
to
items
use
starting
that
to slowly
advantage
outscale
from
Varus.
Sivir Ultimate whenever it is up to enable those two champions to try and find that hook.
Caps, by the way, level 13. It's matching Doinby. Top laners have got most of the experience this game. Wonder is up 80 CS over Gimgoon and still playing that side lane. But we haven't had that huge explosive team fight. It feels like if one team
I don't know what
doesn't win
G2
it,
is
they
going
could
to
either
do.
take it in him or a Baron.
Like these wars are actually so sneaky and nice from FPX that allow us to see people moving here. And then maybe like Tom Kenshult bot side, like stuff like this are super fucking dangerous that gets prevented so
Get
easily.
huge control in this game.
And it's getting much more difficult now for G2 to play to their champions. Because FPX have such a good possible team fight here, Sivir, as you mentioned, quick shot, extremely good and well protected damage output for that force. It's going to be very hard for G to actually find that kill onto the backline and remove those AoE crits.
And that's the really important point, is that in the open, you just can't win as G2's comp. In a 5v5 where everyone opts into it, it's not going to work. But they always have that pick CC opportunity if they get a vision reset. So actually look down the middle here. Look at the scoreboard. See the control wards put together. Doinby could be
That
gone.
hook means so little.
Who though? Because I think there's more support for FPX to respond. Apps escapes from the dredge line. We are 30 minutes into game 1 of the championship final, and truthfully, we still don't know who's going to come out on top.
This team fight is not
have a
going to be
prio
good
in
for
the mid lane.
G2.
They do not have control wards. They don't want to face check.
QSS on Sivir, Thresh.
All right, here's the potential team fight. Doinby
Sivir
stepping
3 items.
forward. Zona
G2 is
takes
not
some
winning a team
damage
fight.
from that volatile Spiderling, with the bench
Ryze has to
fail.
giga
Wonder
carry.
feels more confident to step up. A 30-minute Infernal
Here
could
it
be very
goes,
valuable.
here it
The dredge
goes.
line is dodged away from as the
G2
break
split
is
up,
coming
have to
out.
care.
Split.
They're
That's
split, they're
the
split,
CT
have to
interrupt.
care.
The chain of corruption
Care
starts
lead
to
kick, care
spread,
lead kick.
and it's Mickey that gets tagged. He's locked down. He's knocked up. He's dead. LWX
They can
is
chase
on
them
a
down. They can
rampage.
chase them down
The
bot
Sivir
side.
is terrifying. There goes the teleport. The
Oh! Baron gone, Baron gone. Fuck.
Gets the double kill for FPX.
The flash to Gap
They
was
can't
for
kill him, it's a Ryze.
He might
Or not,
just
it's a
be
Ryze, it's a Nautilus.
thrown down. Realm Warp's coming out, and then managed to
Oh
escape.
my.
Wondering Caps
Baron,
running
Baron,
for
Baron.
their lives. 3 members of
30
G2
seconds
gone
on
down.
jungle.
Death from
This is a
below.
Baron
It's
call.
available for Caps. Can he snipe Doinby? He
Oh my god!
gets the kill.
How?
Kills to 5. He sniped Doinby. He
Oh, through the shield, it's a pike ult.
does. He gets the kill. 10 kills to 5. Now it's a 2v4 inside the pits.
The G2 solo laners, all that's left for them to try and defend the Baron. Quick shot.
There's a death from below available to Caps. He manages to get the skewer. Wonder takes so much damage from the barrels. Goes straight in, but the ulti does nothing. Baron's been enlisted to help G2, and finally Wonder goes down. Gimgoon is
I think
low
Wonder
on.
played that wrong.
All that's left for them to try and defend the Baron. Quick shot.
There's a death from below available to Caps.
Oh, wait, he did it properly.
Solo laners, all that's left for them to try and defend the Baron. Quick shot.
There's a death from below available to Caps. He manages
EQ.
to get the skewer. Wonder takes so much damage from
Oh,
the barrels.
no.
Goes straight in, but the ulti does
Wonder's
nothing. Baron's
EQ
been enlisted to
didn't
help
bounce.
G2, and finally
Wait, why didn't Wonder's EQ bounce there? Oh my god! Caps, you fucked things up for Wonder. So Caps hooking here. So Wonder does E, and then before the E bounces, the Q hits GP. So Wonder's EQ, while it should hit it should hit all 3 of these people. His hook actually bounced, or his hook blocked it. So they did it wrong. Either Caps lets Wonder go first, which is like an okay way to do it. But the better way to do it is wait for Caps to hook and then EQ off the person that Caps hooked. That would have been much better. Oh, their synergy was off here. That's exactly how Rise E works, by the way. What do you mean that's not how it works? Wonder E the Baron, so E spreading onto things, and before the E spreads onto Wonder, or before the E spreads onto GP, the Q hit the GP so it didn't bounce. That's exactly how it works. Let me know how it doesn't work that way. See, so that's why the Q didn't bounce, because the Q hit before the E got there.
To get the skewer, Wonder takes so much damage from the barrels, goes straight in, but the ulti does nothing. Baron's been enlisted to help G2, and finally, Wonder goes down. Gimgoon is low on HP, 8 seconds left before Perk survives, but it's FPX that get the Baron.
They will claim their prize of Baron buff to empower the bush.
All right, Gimgoon, will he find trouble from Caps? Yes, he does, and not gonna go for the...
I'll explain it to you. GP not getting E has no impact on T and Chris not getting E'd. Cause GP didn't get E'd, and he's the first one to get hit by Q. The Q doesn't bounce the round. The first target that has to get hit has to have E on them for the Q to bounce the round. But the first target didn't have E on them, cause the Q hit GP before the E bounced, cause Pike pulled. Let me go turn off the fan and let's resume.
Kill just yet. Caps now continues to chase. Abyssal Voyage comes in from Mickey.
It's extremely nitpicky.
Gimgoon escapes 3-0-4 on that gangplank. It started with him.
It's extremely nitpicky, but
I just want to highlight
like
how
that's why it didn't
quickly
work
the
there.
Decisions have to be made after this play. Instantaneous from all teams. Infernal Drake picked up by 2. They go into evasive maneuvers, trying to kite down towards the bottom half of the map. But with the Sivir
Ding,
ultimate,
ding,
with
ding,
Nautilus,
ding.
immense crowd control, they are split apart, Papa.
And then it becomes just
This
a
teleport.
story here of trying to
Cute.
allow
Kick.
Perks to escape,
Ugh.
the kick to interrupt with the knock up there. Beautifully done. You see the cheering here from backstage.
Yeah, Jankos wanted to get in between so that the Q wouldn't land, but you just kick him right through, still gonna get the knock up there, and that led to what we're seeing on screen. Baroned up, FPX coming for those inhibitor turrets.
It's unbelievable performance from FPX. If you look down the kill scores, 304, 316, 126, 403, of the team's 11 kills, the kill participation is extremely high. It's what we wanted to see from FPX. Push out a lane, roam to a side lane. The difference is it was Gimgoon's gang.
Mickey no tap, Mickey no flash, Mickey no flash. He's really vulnerable there.
And he sets LWX for another kill. 386 CS on that Sivir. With the Baron
This game's lost.
empowered, the inhibitor turret's going low.
This game was lost the moment Rise couldn't beat GP.
Onto FPX, but he's caught out. The dredge
That was a
line
huge
into the
starting
fray.
point.
Wonder's looking for the round wolf, and he won't escape. 6-0-3. LWX is dominating. G2 did so much damage, but they couldn't finish it all.
FPX are able to get what they came for as well. Quick shot. Inhibitor in the mid lane is down. Will be constant pressure for them to get off.
And getting the Baron, which was such a difficult ask for the team comp they had, is the tonic to actually get those 5v5s in open areas where we already outlined early. There's just no response from G2's comp. The moment Caps fishes for a hook, his health bar is deleted.
Again, so much of this game has been about finding picks, hitting skill shots, and then using those openings immediately to get more from your opponent. Look how FPX do not hesitate to burn all their cooldowns to look for one more advantage. This is the way that you can snowball one play into the next and to get the most out of it.
And you see how low FPX are. Had Caps been alive with death from below, in the melee, in the AoE, that ultimate reset could be a game.
What I think
changer,
about
but
G2
it was
splitting the
not.
map when
So
you have
the
at least in
inhibitor
2 good
goes
side
down.
lanes.
G2 are 4
I thought it was super problematic that I think a huge part of G2 draft is Elise Rice diving to GP, but one, that's not possible because of the Nautilus actually being the stronger early game champion versus Pyke, and the Nautilus the one roaming, and also like you said, the map split prevented it. So yeah, I think like from level 1, FPX is winning. And also, I don't understand the Pyke pick. Pyke into Nautilus. You have the whole week, and that was what you prepared. Pyke into Nautilus.
Actually matched Doinby, who was 3-4 times ganking top and bot.
And this is Doinby's most iconic champion for the mid lane. Because it is so abnormal, because no other mid laners fully embrace it to this style, and everyone has always posed questions and say, okay, but prove it on the world stage. Here you go, Papa Smithy. I submit Exhibit A.
And yet, oh, we see that. Oh, blown by Sivir. They want to catch Yankos.
They absolutely do. Yankos flashes over the wall. Now look at the
G2 has to get real creative. They still can't win team fights. Huge problem.
Gets caught by the Nautilus ultimate, and while the cannon minion is still there, G2 Esports concede the Elder.
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Everyone's gonna die here. Everyone's gonna die here.
Another death sentence comes out. Devour from Mickey buys enough time. Caps death from below. Kills down Doinby. This is a 5v4.
Oh.
The HP is low.
Wow, they might actually win off of this. If they can kill enough people, they win here. Wow, they could have won here.
Gets the boomerang, gets the ricochet, the round one comes out, and G2 escape.
Oh, G2 remain on the attack, even while FPX...
Oh, if they killed 1 or 2 more people, they could have won the game here. Holy shit.
FPX gets caught by the Nautilus ultimate, and while the cannon minion is still there, G2 Esports concede the Elder.
Banshee, Zanya, Proto, Nautilus thing.
Another death sentence comes out. Devour from Mickey buys enough time. Caps death from below. Kills down Doinby.
Caps needs to live. Caps is like super fucking important.
5v4, but the HP is low. Chris,
Oh my god. I wonder if Caps could have lived somehow. Can he walk up? If Caps can live and hold his ultimate and threaten kills,
below. Kills
why do you have to walk down? You can't walk up.
Doinby. This is a 5v4, but the HP is low.
Walk up towards your team. I wonder if there's a way Caps could have lived. If Caps could have lived here, this fight changes completely.
Chris gets tagged. Caps goes down. It's another one, but look at the damage from one.
Ugh. That kick though from Tien.
Turns around with a parlay. LWX gets the boomerang, gets the ricochet. The round one comes out, and G2 escape.
Oh, G2
Wow.
remain on the attack, even while FPX...
G2 almost found a way to win the game where they were losing like 80%, 70% of the game.
They conceded the Barons to get the inhibs. This is a game about pressure and control of the
I mean, yeah, the hook,
This is
I mean,
why G2
Crisp
is so
and
beloved.
Tien are
Never
fucking
go
god tier.
quietly into the night. They will always
The
try
hook
to
into
find a
kick,
counterpunch.
fucking beautiful.
They are impossible
I would love to
take.
play AD carry for this team.
Exactly, Papa Smithy. They will always look to surprise you by remaining on the attack, on the offensive.
And even if FPX close this game, there will still be lingering doubts. Not often the case when you win game 1 of a World Final.
Mickey looks like he's going to get caught out by Gimgoon once again. 4-0-8 on that gangplank. Throws down another stopwatch, and while Caps is arriving to see him go down, that is another kill, another death
Baron
that is unneeded.
up very soon. Baron up in
unnecessary
40
at this
seconds.
point.
That Baron's gone.
FPX strike back again. And guess what? The Baron is soon to
Woong
arrive.
would
Only
look
30
godlike playing for
seconds remaining.
FPX. I mean, he looked good playing for MIG, so
Elemental Drake
yeah.
buff. FPX have full control over the area.
They're hunting indeed.
The obvious
Yankos has
Baron.
got a Banshee.
Obvious Baron.
No flash available to him. Now on the minimap, we've got no vision of the
G2 know they can't do Baron. They know their only counterplay is pushing bot. They know their counterplay to them doing Baron is try to end the game when they have Baron. Probably maybe send one person to cancel Baron and rest push bot side. Yeah, they're trying to speed this up. That's their only shot.
Look at the minimap.
They're like,
FPX, they peeled onto the Baron.
G2 always makes such good macro decisions.
Three-man Baron stat. Teleports are coming down. No, that's correction to the top.
What?
lane. Perks.
Okay, so they are expecting that they're
So
responded.
Baron will be conceded here as Wonder concedes the flash to run away. Imgun is chasing. He's got himself the eye edge, the Essence Reaver. The Baron is secure.
That
This is
was
the second
one of the only
game
macro
in
decisions that G2
conjunction
could make
with
there.
Elder.
Pushing bot.
FPX should be in
Anything
control,
else was a bad
but
macro
G2
decision.
Don't care about should.
And I love those conditional languages in a match like this where FPX has been packing the punch or have the scaling. It's still
And then like
conditional.
Perk's TPing top early so they can push the lane. Like everything G2 is doing right now is they're gonna keep pushing everywhere. They're gonna push every single lane that they possibly can so they can't walk up with Baron. And if they are walking up with Baron, they can go to the other side and keep pushing.
No, because G2 still gives you questions to answer, and if you're too slow in this meta, you can still lose.
Gentlemen, coming into this game, we were discussing how FPX and
Why is
G2
giving
have
Baron to try to
redefined
base race
how
a team
League
with
of Legends
GPU the
is
good macro
played.
decision?
And we are already seeing
Because
all of
they
the
cannot
different
contest
teams.
Baron. The game ends if they walk in there for Baron. The only thing G2 can do is control wave much as possible. They're in a position where they can't teamfight anymore, so they have to be creative with wave and create alternate win conditions. If G2 and FPX are in the same lane, FPX already won. G2 have to constantly play this rubber band game. Like they're like, look, I'm bot lane. No, I'm top lane. No, I'm mid lane. Nope, I'm bot lane again. Come catch me.
Shake up on the top side, and can a TP flank undo this three-man push?
All right, we're going to have to find out. Doomby is able to defend for now. Teleport is coming up. That's the recalls now coming up for G2 Esports. The top lane inhibitor is going to fall, and the mid lane inhibitor is exposed as well.
FPX have used the teleport form Doomby. They're going to try and get 2 inhibitors here. G2 recall.
Now G2 already lost because they're in the same area as FPX. The moment they're in the same area as FPX, they already lost the fight.
And G2 are looking for an initiation. By the way, Gimgoon did not leave that bottom lane, so 2 inhibs secured in favor of FPX. They still have a minute and a half on Baron. And
Now FPX go 5-man bot lane, probably send 1 to a top or mid laner to push in the other side. There's still 1 minute 30 on Baron. They can get this push.
They don't get that TP. Gimgoon holds on to it. If all TPs are down, there's still a split push scenario for G2.
FPX marching ahead here. They have remained calm. They still have a minute and 20 seconds to work with the Baron buff as well. Teleport available for LWX as well as Gimgoon. And it looks like it will be a reset.
40 minutes into the game, and it is a 7,000 gold lead for FPX. LWX sold his boots, is at full Sivir build and 26 CS shy of what is considered the win condition for Sivir. 500 equals victory. Now it should be even more confident than that right now with a minute on Baron. Relborg comes out and Wonder's gonna get caught up in the
By one
next
there.
It's another kill.
And game was
It's another
realistically
hit. It's
over like 10
another
minutes ago,
moment
and we're just watching
where
G2
FPX
do
60
everything in their
seconds
power
with
to
super
create like a
leads
miracle.
and Baron
The moment
to
Ryze couldn't beat GP in a side lane anymore, the game was over.
FPX with the 5v4 advantage will march on the Nexus turrets.
Chain of Corruption is available, and Yankos gets caught out. The Devourer's buying some time. There goes Caps forward. Crisp manages to stay alive. That was a fantastic flash. The
USS flash.
Chaitos buys some time with the Hourglass, and Doomby goes low. LWX
That's
gets
it.
another. TN finds a second. The Nexus tower falls as well. FPX are looking for one last kill. Not going to find it just yet, and the Nexus gets focused. The Nexus gets killed after the ace, and FPX strike first in the finals.
Wow. This game showed that G2's answer into Nautilus mid is bad. I'm not sure if they have a secondary answer, but luckily they're going to be on blue side for game 2. But going back on to game 3, like they need a new answer for Nautilus mid. And another huge thing is, going into game 2, we need to see if G2 is willing to play Kiana or not. If G2 can't play Kiana, then this matchup's really fucked. G2's going to get crushed in draft. Ryze isn't that effective for G2, where Ryze is extremely effective for FPX. So there's huge problems in draft that G2 has to solve, because the early game right now isn't working out due to how the drafts are going. And the team fights also are dependent on draft. Like G2, I don't think they played badly in the game itself. Like they're doing what they need to be doing. I mean, you can look at Wonder and some of the mistakes that he made, but it wasn't really like a, oh, this one player played so bad, but that's why they lost the game. It's more of the strategy that G2 has for FPX is not working right now. And there needs to be a different strat. Blue side, red side is completely different in terms of what picks you have access to and how much bans you have access to. So yeah, let's see if G2's new strat for game 2 is going to show us a competitive series. Alright guys, let's start with game 2.
spectacular Paris where game 1 went the way of the
G2 banning Nautilus, G2 banning Renekton. I don't like the Renekton ban from G2. They've shown they can play against it, and they're so strapped for bans. A huge thing is G2 needs to first pick Kiana, and they also need to answer to Rides. I think these are bigger problems than the Renekton. So yeah, let's see if G2 is willing to first pick Kiana, and also how they handle Rides. I think those are huge questions.
LPL champions. Now, important to note that during quarterfinals and semifinals, in the last 3 weeks, the team that won the first game went on to win the entire series.
Congratulations!
This is a bad sign for G2 Esports, Papa Smithy.
But it's such a different animal to face G2 Esports on the blue side. I actually think that's the most terrorizing proposition for any coach, maybe in history, given how flexible they are to send just about anything into Perks' hands.
Oh, they're banning Kiana both sides. They're not willing to play Kiana. This series is going to be extra hard for G2. They're not willing to play Kiana. They don't have good answers for Ryze. Oh, the only edge G2 has is Syndra and Xayah.
The bot lane.
Exactly, because
They're doing what
Blue side
SKT
has to ban Pantheon.
did versus
They
G2.
lose one there. Plus, Blue side gets first pick, and the
Kai'Sa first pick, Rides, Kai'Sa Rides, Kai'Sa Rides. Ooh, Gragas.
But because of the flexible
Gragas opens up for Gragas Yasuo even if they take Kai'Sa. I'm guessing that's the strat.
picks for G2, they usually get to hide even further. First instance, Gragas, S tier jungler,
Ryze,
but also
Kai'Sa.
a support. Mickey has used it very
Ryze,
effectively with
Kai'Sa.
versus Yasuo.
And you're already thinking about Gragas Yasuo duo. If you think about tier list, Ryze Kai'Sa is kind of the
There you
obvious
go.
duo
Papa
available to
Smithy.
FPX.
There we
What's the
go.
support
There's a
gonna
Kai'Sa.
be to deal with
Take
Gragas
the
Yasuo,
Ryze.
who's post level 6. What a terror that is on
There
the
it
bot
is.
side.
And ding ding, Ryze Kai'Sa locked in for FunPlus Phoenix.
Yasuo Syndra would have been the ideal. Yasuo jungle pick, making sure Yankos doesn't get pinched. Actually, yeah, they have to make sure Yankos doesn't get... Actually, if they do Yasuo Gragas, they can always go mid with Yasuo. Oh, mid Yasuo into Ryze is pretty bad though. Yasuo plus... Oof. If they're confident about Yasuo Gragas mid lane, they can go Yasuo Gragas another pick.
Are you bold enough to run the Yasuo down 0-1 in a series if you put yourself in G2's shoes?
I think for sure, because if you're going down the list of supports, there's nothing that's really going to deter you. As long as you can focus with your jungler to help control the minion wave for the Yasuo Gragas early on, maybe you're most worried about some tanky melee
There
support
it is.
to counter it.
Got the confirmation on the Gragas Yasuo.
Yasuo isn't the best pick into Ryze, especially in competitive.
About this, we came
Ooh,
up with
Akali.
as maybe
More flex for
premier
G2,
support to
okay.
try to deal and threaten
This is a
double
pick
melee lane.
they have like
The Akali
closed
has been
off for
permaban
such a long
quite
time.
while this tournament going to be locked in somewhere for G2.
And this is why we're highlighting the importance of
G2 hasn't opened Akali since like groups. Like they had Akali closed off for about 3 weeks.
side selection for this matchup. Because things are going to have to get through the draft because of these guaranteed bans, now Akali, one of the most feared flex picks on one of the teams with the most feared solo laners.
And you have 3 flex picks already for
Lee.
G2. They can still pivot this draft
Okay.
in any direction.
Lee Ryze,
Fun
that's
Plus
the duo.
these Phase 2 bans will give us an indication of the direction that they believe it's going to go.
And from the G2 side, I wonder
The-
do you ban K?
The 4 or 5 bans here for FPX is meaningless. It literally does not make sense. It doesn't matter what they ban here. The ban here is meaningless. They can ban anything they want. They could have 20 bans and it's meaningless.
Because it is a pick that Doinby's play that doesn't fit in with his Ryze.
Olaf.
Hard CC duo.
If they ban enough jungles, Yasuo Gragas mid.
Has been the premier dive bomb duo. Gets the maximum value out of that KL ultimate because it doesn't fit with the way FPX usually
Bans
plays.
are so
You can
meaningless because
understand
they'll just go
G2
mid with
just giving it
the
over to
Gragas, mid and jungle.
Yeah, and it would be a fairly AP heavy for the team as well. We don't want to have, too coordinated of the damage
GP ban,
profile.
okay.
Olaf is the first ban here for FPX. I like that they continue to
They're
focus
just gonna do
on the
Olaf
jungle.
Rek'Sai again, I
In
think.
the last game, it was very,
Yep.
very big
Olaf
difference here.
Rek'Sai,
Lee Sin,
both
we saw
good champions
Ken
into
roaming
Lee.
around, trying to get that extra second to set up plays, and now they throw 2 more attack damage jungler bans. This is why I mentioned in the Champions
Long
League,
as Yanko has at
but
least available,
is a
that's
way
fine.
Trying to force G2 onto an AP jungler, thereby maybe forcing a little bit of a shift of that Yasuo and bringing it back to a solo lane.
They do actually
Kale ban.
away the Kale, the GP, the
Preventing the
not
Kale
quite
Kai'Sa.
Gimgoons, trying to poke Gimgoon.
when Gimgun has all his like Gimgun has like multiple like I'm on an island pick, Mordekaiser, GP, Kale isn't really an island pick. Kale, you need help, but he's just gonna go Mordekaiser if you ban stuff like this. I really, really hate the Renekton ban. Really, 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 really.
Away from the sort of comfort he usually prospers in, so it's a very different draft. Consider game one, they left open all of the calling cards of FPX looking for that mental edge, those draft bucks
Clad.
that we've talked about. This game, it's very different as there's an old comfort for Doink.
Is it going to be the It is locked in.
Interesting thing about Kled, it's something me and Dom talked about on FaceCheck. Kled has multiple ways to reveal Akali in the Shroud. And Kled can jump on the Akali very easily. So Kled is actually a pretty decent counter into Akali. And because both Gimgun and Doinbi play Kled and Ryze, they can swap around the Kled and make the Kled go wherever the Akali is.
During the press conference, he said if they are brave enough to leave it open, I will crush G2 with the Kleds.
And what was so cool to watch from them in the last game is the execution on these force plays. It's one thing to draft these types of champions and be able to set up and try and go for picks, but the execution on those tower dives
Tristana?
is so clean.
What?
Now, again, as we mentioned
Okay,
last
Tristana
time,
into Ryze.
Kled being dismounted.
As a very experienced 54% win rate in D4 Diamond Ryze player, Trist is one of the best picks into Ryze. Trist can outrange the Ryze, and Trist can also out all in the Ryze. So it's actually not a bad pick. It's a pick used in competitive also outside of Diamond and a solo queue. But yeah, Trist into Ryze is a pick where you can have priority on the Ryze and you can outrange the Ryze, out all in the Ryze, and also move around first.
It is another facilitator of possible early game plays, early tower dives, and you have to keep your eyes out.
Okay, so let's turn our attention to the last pivots. Yeah, Tristana
Rakan.
as well as Elise. I would anticipate this to be
No
a
hook
Caps
support.
Tristana, if it's going to be running into the
I haven't
Ryze.
seen
Match that?
Chris
What do
not
you
play
make
a
on
hook
that,
support.
Cody?
I definitely agree. High priority on solo lane Tristana because we saw last time around so much of the game is determined by being able to open
Galio.
up roams for your parts.
Galio
Usually,
Kai'Sa,
people are
that's a
used to one
throwback.
variable, the jungler roaming around, but both of these teams
See it.
try and introduce more variables into League of Legends, and Tristana is one of those champions that can mine turret plates if you leave her alone, or push away with explosive shot very quickly.
Honestly, Kobe, when I'm watching a G2 blue side draft, sometimes my eyes glaze over till 20 seconds because I'm thinking about the infinite possibilities of that.
It has to be
golden
Triss
swap
mid. They're not
again
going to
and
flex
again.
any further.
Seems like
Triss
FPX
will not
come
go
to a
bot lane.
similar conclusion that we did in terms of support against what they assume is the Gragas Yasuo. The Galio support to try to actually just threaten that top. If you get brush control, it's hard for Gragas Yasuo to walk up.
Exceptional read on the draft, gentlemen. Now let's zoom out and look at these 5v5s, maybe from the G2 lanes first, because I think FPX is a little more simple to understand, albeit it's Gimgun running the Kled, which made me a little sad.
Definitely the historians over here want to see the 9-2 mid lane Kled, but it hasn't been a pick he's gone to this year, and Gimgun had been showing in solo queue. So I guess there's no huge surprise there. We get this Akali versus Kled top lane matchup.
Yeah, also, Kled a little bit more trouble in mid lane, seeing that it's a Tristana. It's very difficult to deal with that range discrepancy because Kled gets a lot of value in matchups.
Alright, we'll talk about matchups later. Let me think through things.
Strikes, but Tristana always has either rocket jump or buster shot to get out of that. So given the last lock-in, I like the flex here.
Pick your poison has kind of been one of the casticals you said the most times. You still end up with Tristana versus Ryze, which has been considered a Ryze counter pick in Worlds 2019.
Yeah, especially when we do cast our minds back to...
Wow, the screens are so huge. Jesus.
Man, on your screen, Caps and Doinbi. It is 0-1 for G2 Esports and FPX, the #1 seed from the LPL. The defending title region is looking to make it a second world championship in a row. Very interestingly, in that previous game, despite the dominance
World
these two
Cup,
teams have
the
showed
Summoners
all
Cup.
summer long, it was the second longest game for each of them at the World Championship. Look at the minimap and shenanigans.
Let's talk about the comps really quickly before the game gets too crazy with Invade. Huge thing for G2 is FPX is the mid 2v2. The Ryze is running Exhaust instead of Teleport. He recognizes the Tristana pick is very dangerous into him, and he has to prevent all limbs and do a lot of the 2v2s together. So Rise Lee into Trist a huge thing. This is something that's going to be bread and butter regarding if FPX can come out ahead or not. Like, they are fully committing to, we're going to fight this 2v2. There's no way around it. And then the other thing is, as we saw a lot with G2, they love doing creative things with Yasuo Gragas. They like sometimes aggressively trading level 2 and diving level 3 with the jungler. That's a common play that they did versus SKT. And another thing that they've shown is you can dive the Rise Gragas if you're on the other side with Kaisa, Galio, Lee, and also Tristana is not that strong early, so there can be actually counter dive this way. Lee early play for bot side, Rise roam at level 3, something Doinb has shown a lot. So a lot of interesting things that we need to watch out for early. The level 1 is going to be very important to see how, if FPX abuses Yasuo Gragas, or if G2 actually does like the level 3 dive they love doing. And another thing is the Kled into Akali. It's a really good matchup for Kled, so... And also G2 just hasn't touched Akali in forever. I'm very curious how that one goes too. Just a lot of interesting like early game interactions that we have to keep a very close eye on.
Are afoot. Both teams are grouped up. Both teams are invading. And it's Gimgu that takes the first auto, while FPX are grouped in the bottom quadrants.
See if they can actually get that deep ward down. Looks like they're fighting over the Raptor pit here. They're going to see if it is a Tion red side start. And once again, with the level 1 trying to discern if they can isolate this matchup.
An FPX bot lane invade, if they can actually make this a bot side controlled, would actually be another thing that would force Yasuo Gragas onto the back foot as the ranged opponent. Notice they actually didn't put down any vision when they went down into the red side jungle. It was very much just scouting with their faces and then backing away. Vision is much later, spotting the alcove there around the entrance to the red side of G2.
Let's see how Perks and Mickey play this duo. It's been an interesting...
For how aggressive both teams were during level 1, the game turned out pretty normal in terms of level 1. No one doing anything crazy. Both junglers starting without a leash.
Against SKT. So with both sides of the coin being shown, which one will we see today?
Well, I like that. What you expect is often not the case with either of these teams. Both of these teams like to attack where your opponent thinks that you are weak. Trying to use that element of surprise will often turn the tables. Usually early on, Gragas and
Yasuo pick worthless level 1.
Because of the range
it's not a real pick until level 3 in bot lane.
Access to the E, only the Q trying to scrounge up CS here. It makes it a completely different game once Yasuo gets the E, is able to go for possible all-ins, and they can commit.
Just really cannot do anything when you're level 1. Even level 2 as a Yasuo versus most bot lanes.
Galio with brush control is what he alluded to in draft. You're seeing how difficult it is to interact.
There it is. There it is. Remember what we talked about. Oh my god, that was so close.
Just short, you can hear the chance here from Paris. Top and mid was pushing towards FPX in favor of G2, but obviously this Gragas Yasuo is being bullied back.
In case you're wondering at home, very non-standard gank time to be mid lane as a red side Lee Sin at 2 minutes 30. You're not going to be level 3. You don't have the ward hop shenanigans available. Bit of a mind game there, but no inroads for FPX.
And because of the early invade, they're aware that G2 knows that Tion start on the top side, so they're not giving a tremendous amount of extra information away. And they
Lee Sin did a really unique pass to hit level 3. As Papa has talked about, it's not really standard. Red, double golems, crossover, level 2 gank, crossover, get level 3.
So Tion, though, does not catch sight of Jankos.
Number of pings there from the FPX side into the bottom tri-bush. Jankos with flash available to him, caps at level 3. Sitting in position, either waiting for a repeat gank or just shadowing that lane. Now all of a sudden he'll grab the Scuttle Crab.
And that's a key idea right there, quick shot. Jankos just looking for the move from Tion, a possible counter gank there, because he's protecting the pushing Tristana.
Spotted with the plan. This does mean that Gragas Yasuo will have a bit more swagger in the bot lane to take aggressive trades. The Hail of Blades tech was debuted at this Worlds, does allow you to get much more impactful trades early. Caps actually just
Rise early base.
the minions to get the push.
Exactly, as we're talking about, the push is
Yes, super early
now
tier.
We'll see how that actually trails into the rest of the game here. Akali Wonder actually goes back
Ooh,
in.
good trade for Akali.
Fun trades between the two of them. Wondering Gimgun they were actually battling extensively in the Gangplank versus Rise
Lane
match in
gank.
game number 1, and they've already started with some
Lane
good plays.
gank.
Tian makes his way down bot, but he doesn't look like he's going to go for any plays just yet.
And the recall that we just saw in mid lane actually incredibly important, because that was Doinby trying to get the first recall off to get the purchase on the early tier. He can start stacking this mana. He shoves the wave now, and we have to play around these 30-second windows. A new minion wave will spawn every 30 seconds. If you're able to push it in, force your mid laner opponent to actually handle that homework.
He bought Fairy Charm early, just in case he has to save for lane in an extended period of time so he won't have mana problems. Sold it and bought boost. It only costs you like 30 gold to buy Fairy Charm and sell it, so it's like a mana potion. They remove mana potion, but you can cheat that by buying Fairy Charm. The hidden mana potion, the hidden tech.
For example, we already knew that Tristana is strong in this matchup. You add the Ignite and the Elise jungle against any opponent, and basically as Doinby, you're pushing out one minion wave and then back.
And I think it's so important to note that right now, Wonder is under trouble. Skull gets actually procced. This time around, Jankos is looking for opportunities. Contrast that to game 1, where Doinby on the Nautilus and Tian on the Lee Sin were able to get early advantages, and many of them in the top lane. Jankos is looking for a play. The Justice Punch will find a tag there onto Perks, and LWX continues to step forward with that Icathian Rain. They end up winning the trade in the bottom lane.
Meanwhile, we're already seeing this Akali start to pull ahead on the top side of the map. Wonder, when he's afforded isolation there with the Akali, landing so many more of the last
Waste of an exhaust. They misread the all-in.
Alright, the exhaust was thrown down there onto LWX, so Summoner Spell disadvantage for the G2 bottom lane, and Tian is now waiting in the...
But you can see like how Doinby is a really good Rise. You know why he's a really good Rise? He doesn't lane versus Tristana.
Rune Prison combo. There is enough damage if they want it.
And I think Tian is most...
He's lane versus Tristana enough as a Rise. It's like, yeah, fuck that shit. Never lane versus Trist, just keep
I
roaming.
want to look into the future, because we don't want to get behind the game here.
Wait, you can do that?
Yes, I'll pull out my Scrying Orb.
Ooh.
With FPX actually having multiple people on bottom side, I expect G2 to try and play off of a level 6 power spike from Akali.
Just keep moving
Just
around.
mentioned, Wonder's
Never
doing a good
actually
job
allow the
in
laning
lane.
to go through.
Akali is so good at executing the second part of her R ultimate and getting the kill onto Kled, because whenever you dismount, the extra percentage damage there does help you finish off tower dives, and you have an Elise on your team. So we'll see if they can actually afford to focus that lane with an Infernal Drake alive.
Notice though that Gindu didn't use his teleports. So they can actually have 5 members here, FPX, and Akali can't join.
Not just yet. The Scuttle Crab was picked up there.
Yasuo Greg is too weak right now compared to Lee, Rise, Kai'Sa, Galio.
10 creeps
G-Tap
up.
to get
Note as
stuff.
well, Wonder, nearly double the CS of Gimgoon. Both of them at level 6, and Mickey and Perks making their way to ultimates as well.
That Scuttle Crab was an incredibly efficient smite from Jankos. Necessary defense now that they've acquired this vision. And bottom lane pushing up. Perks has been able to start the dragon. Yasuo very good at helping take these dragons because of the wind wall and allowing possible denial of skill shots from the opponent team.
This multi-step process, in spite of the losing 2v2 early, is going to get them an Inferno. It looks like Chris Face checks gets the bad news. Tiana, don't be a late here.
Well, they are going to be a little bit. 800 HP on the Infernal Caps. Will
Carried on the X set, carry on the X at G2, carry on the X at G2. The X set is so important.
First blood again to FPX. Now Tian is going so low. Jankos repels up,
Oh,
comes down,
this
gets
is not
killed.
good.
It's a jungler for jungler.
Wow, this reminds me of TL. Wait, what? This is TL versus Dom1 Gaming. Sell your soul for the first dragon. Priest level 6 on your bot lane. What the hell?
This multi-step process, in spite of the losing 2v2 early, is going to get them an Inferno. It looks like Chris Face checks gets the bad news. Tiana, don't be a late here.
Well, they are going to be a little bit. 800 HP on the Infernal Caps will just avoid that.
Why are you selling your soul for this? Why? Even if you get the Inferno, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get blown out early game.
Oh, that's a flash forward into the taunt. Dragons.
Look at Yanko. Is he gonna participate in the fight with this much HP?
Secured by G2, but the first fight is on the board. First blood again to FPX. Now Tian is going so low. Jankos repels up, comes down, gets killed. It's a jungler for jungler trade, and now Perks is blown up. 3 for 1, but the Dragon goes to G2.
I believe Jankos didn't even have smite when they're starting up this dragon. That's why they're waiting around it for so long too. In the end, he gets it with the execute Q form of the lead. But FPX with the extra kill are going to try and push on bottom and earn
Whoa.
some plate money.
And the instinct to walk up there actually gets them much more fruit than you'd expect. 3 kills for that first Infernal Drake secure. LWX gets a plate as well. That's a big early gold injection for FPX.
All right, let's take another look at it because
In what world does this play work? Kled has TP too, he can always come down.
for G2 here, Jankos just used the smite on the Scuttle Crab for the vision, but because Chris flashes in there,
Yasuo still works. Oh my god.
for the vision, but
I didn't even know. Even in like these kind of situations, one thing that stands out to me is Perks is an insane player. Look at Perks right here. Look at Perks, that wind wall. Blocking doing B EQ. Blocks doing B E again.
they are under attack very early on. Tian,
Like there isn't like much he can be doing, but even in situations where there's not much, Perks is always getting the most out of the situation. My #1 player at World.
Now Kaisa with the gold bounty, 2 kills to his name for LWX and the CS lead.
But it was really a matter of time in this meta with your fast, decisive decisions required. And what we saw in that...
The wind wall there is so
no
clutch.
Smite and Tian lasting so long in the fight that ended up with the 3 for 1 trade.
And those are 2 trades right there. Later power of Inferno buff, but look what you can see on the gold total right now. LWX far and away the richest person in the game.
1,300 gold above Perks right now, his lane opponent. 15 CS lead. Obviously, you can see 2-0-1 in the kills. Compliments of that dragon fight. And FPX again strike first in the game, get themselves an advantage, and we need to see how G2 will bounce back. And also, how FPX are going to push this lead, because with a enabled Kaisa, maybe a little earlier than anticipated, Kled, Rise, Galio, Kaisa, that is a terrifying death ball dive style comp. As Gimgoon's going to chase forward using the charge, and he almost gets the solo kill. Skarl gets popped. How did Wonder survive? He manages to stay alive a few
Kled into
seconds
Kali
longer and get under the tower.
And it was only just an inch away from being a straight up solo kill. That always does more damage than you expect in the 1v1.
Kled able to force out the flash there from Wonder. Now let's see if there's going to be any sort of response. We just have 2 resets on the side of FPX, so I think everything should calm down.
The gold standard here for FPX is to use that extra gold to get deep vision on the red side jungle to stop Yasuo or Gragas doing what it says on the tin, which is after level 6. Doesn't matter how much gold Kaisa has, you can't walk up at threat of the body slam flash or the ultimate coming in. So actually expressing the lead in the 2v2 is actually difficult against specifically Gragas Yasuo duo.
All right, Gimgoon with the Hex String.
The huge problem is with Kaisa. Oh, she's so accelerated in terms of items. And the Tristana never got the 2v2 or the 1v1 on the Rise. Doinby's such an annoying player. He knows the matchup way too well. He's playing the matchup where he's not in lane. So Tristana can never actually engage on the Rise. And even when he's in lane, it's on timing so Elite can be there and Elite can't. So it's so frustrating. You pick the counter matchup and this guy will not fight you. Doinby's just too smart.
Here going to afford him more opportunities to go for those all-ins onto Akali. With Press the Attack, you have a lot of burst damage that you can try and...
I hope Doinby has a small dick. He's good at League of Legends. He has a pretty wife. He's smart. I'm sure God balanced him with like a small dick or something.
Absolutely the case, Tian.
The champion's too OP.
Sonic Wave finds a target, Repel app finds a minion to go down, Rune Prison locks him down. That's a buster shot on the rocket jump with the ignite coming in. Chris comes down with the ultimate. They end up trading.
Long cooldown used from Crisp there to no inroad. Mickey's mid lane going to be spotted on this, but you start to see the burst potential. Didn't really feel like starting to put too much oomph into the autos, and yet Lee Sin almost went down.
A lot of damage potential when G2 gets the time to set it up. If they want to use the Tristana combination, but then you add the burst combination for the Akali as well as the Yasuo. There are tools for them available. Mickey sneaks away a little bit more damage on the mid-outer turret. And look at the minimap now. LWX and Crisp, they've
Playing for this, Herald. Yasuo, no completed item. Kaisa, 1.5 items. Galio, stopwatch. Tristana, no Bork. This is not a fight G2 can win.
called They've put themselves in the top lane, and it looks like we're going to have Australia lane set up.
Yeah, and there's a very big difference here. Because of the extra teleport on Wonder, G2 can actually force a Rift Herald play. After swapping over, Gimgoon is basically relegated to bottom lane, especially until the Kled ultimate comes up.
But it's bottom lane with a TP disadvantage. FPX fantastic at using their teleports for offensive moves. Sometimes these teams walk up and fight too much. For now, Tian is going to be in disengage too. They want to buy about a minute and a half for Gimgoon to be able to be back on the map.
All right, Yanko showing bottom. Actually going to hover behind Wonder rather than go for the big play on top side with numbers advantage. And Tian
Can't fight this. Can't fight this. Kled moving first. Cannot fight this. Rise a level up on Drift. Cannot fight this.
Yeah, you can see whenever Gimgoon hovers in the river here, he's threatening possible Kled roam towards it.
Perks wants to solo, and he will get out the killer instinct. He doesn't
Perks is
find
like
the
creating his
knockout.
own lead in
He's
situations where he's
forced
extremely
for that.
behind.
Now there's no killer instinct from LWX, and that final breath from Perks' Yasuo is available. The Herald is secured, and that solo attempt prevents G2 from picking a further fight.
Crucially, there's no TP ward here for Akali to come in, so despite having TP, it's not felt. The Rift Herald goes down. Perks is lingering on the top side.
Oh, G2 will get themselves a Cloud Drake, and the Torch finds
Oh.
FPX step forward. The
Good
Windfall
denial.
Dragon's
Oh.
does so much to work.
Oh.
The
Wow.
tower, Mickey goes down. Tien's not done yet. He gestures all the way forward. FPX are looking for the first tower.
This is a tale of two pushes. Quick shot, top side. FPX strike quick, and they strike
G2
hard.
has to, or not
Meanwhile,
G2.
mid lane, G2
Yeah.
trying to
FPX
fight
has to get to
back.
mid
They
lane
get a
as fast as
counterpunch,
possible and
then
make sure they
start
don't
an
allow G2 to
explosive
get that
shot.
turret.
Will do
That
so.
turret's
Maybe
gone
the
actually.
stunner can be the
Oh.
difference, but
Maybe they can get
otherwise
first?
FPX
No, no,
will
okay.
tails up.
They actually get
In
pushed
this
off
way,
the
this
mid.
time
They don't even
have
get the
Rift
turret.
Herald on their first
Getting pushed
push.
off mid there is
They
actually
back
really
up
big.
LWX.
FPX.
It's going to be hard to get that mid turret. Once Rise goes back mid, that mid turret is going to be impossible to get. Rise can perma push out.
The mini-map, Mickey and Perks move up to try and take down the Rift Herald before the charge gets off, but the damage has been done.
It absolutely is. No Gragas ulti available. LWX
Oh.
flash away from Mickey's flash. It's traded 1-for-1. Here comes Perks. Here comes Caps.
Doinby's tanky. Doinby's tanky. Doinby's tanky. He's tanky AF.
Does so
Roar Ride, so bullshit. Early damage and also tanky.
Cannot be stopped. Cannot be contained. Cannot be controlled. And they've got a 4,000 gold lead.
There's no way to back up through that hero's
It looks
entrance,
killable,
and
but
there's
all
some
Doinby does is
control
play
of the
tanky champions
Galio.
and buy
Means
tank
that
stats.
Yasuo is food for FPX.
FPX looks so clean right now, executing no hesitation on the re-engage after they see
The way FPX draft and the way Doinby plays, they're so strong early. If you don't take them apart early and you engage on some of their early scrimmage, it's nearly impossible to fight them.
Mickey burn the flash. They know they can just turn and burn. Root is used, and no member for FPX actually losing out.
And my eyes are fully dilated because it's a 2-item build. Manamune into the Rage Blade already done. Coming back onto this blade was a
That was such a good denial.
Doinby just about gets enough damage.
Mickey
there.
Flash!
Finished off by LWX.
And that's LWX accruing another kill. Kaisa now with 4 kills. As you talked about, Papa.
This
Sydney,
ride is
the
gonna be
build
so
is
tanky.
well underway.
Akali's not going to be
I have
really
been here
online.
before,
Elise is kind of
gentlemen,
online.
Watching a European team playing a Chinese team where hope was high and gameplay did not live up to it. It
Yeah,
is a
let's hope it changes this time.
1,000 goal difference. Now, one thing that is important to note, G2 Esports did win consecutive team fights behind in gold versus SKT just 1 week away. I mean, they need to channel that performance again to bring it back this game.
Well, Cookshot, they're about to be posed a very difficult question. Gimgoon split pushing on the Kled on top side of your map. We're about to reach that top tower, but G2 continually looking for a possible aggressive move instead.
The silver lining is that the cooldowns are much longer on FPX's side, so you actually have to not lick your wounds. You have to re-engage before Hero's entrance and also the charge are off cooldown. But now, though, they're showing respect. Caps continues to get plenty of gold in the side lane, but they lose mid out.
It ends up being a mid-outer for bottom lane trade. Perks sidesteps some of the damage. Mickey gets caught out by the Kaiser W, and the Wind Wall is doing some work to reduce the follow-up damage. FPX 2 towers to 1. They are behind in the Dragon game, but that is it. They have everything else on lockdown, and a super strong AD carry 4-0-2. LWX.
Another huge problem that's going to happen. Akali can't beat the Kled. No one's going to be able to beat Rise later in the side lane. The same situation is going to happen. FPX actually has an insane team fighting team with Galio, Kai'Sa, Kled, and Tian's Lee. Lee normally isn't a god tier team fighting champion, but Tian's Lee is actually a really good team fight champion just due to how well he plays. G2 is going to be in a situation where they can't win team fight. The Kai'Sa's way too fed. Rise is a great team fight champion. Also, another huge problem, Tristana is a 0-2, Akali's 0-0-0, and naturally Akali isn't the greatest into Rise. They don't win side lane also. They're going to get both their windows to win games. So usually there's two major win conditions. You're either stronger in a team fight or you have the stronger split pusher. It's going to be another game where G2 doesn't have the stronger team fight or the stronger split pusher.
Has been consistent all worlds long.
And the team consistently drafts these compositions that allow him lots of room to work with. The idea behind FPX's strategy here, you have the Kled charging in with the extra speed, then Galio ult on top of the Kled to actually protect the remount there, and this opens up so many
it's slowly happening.
That LWX is afforded a very offensive ultimate.
And it's just threat and zone control for him to just free hit and choose his moment. And yes, open the tournament ulting too much. As speaking of ults.
All right, Realm Warp comes down. Void Seeker will connect on
pushes caps out.
Decides not to go into the killer instinct.
I don't know what FPX is doing. There's nothing for them to do mid lane. They should play the map a little bit wider.
2MB goes fishing. He doesn't find anything right now. It'll just be a matter of time before he throws down that Realm Warp. He's sitting 1-0-4. The front man for Fun plus Phoenix. And he'll need to get a little more creative to put some pressure. But look at the minimap. Gingun, he's pushing on that outer turret. And I think he'll get some chip damage before Wonder rocks up.
Still a lot of pressure here being applied by FPX. Stopwatch on this back coming through from LWX to go for one of those overeager dives. And yeah, it was the first day where suddenly we were down on FPX, that first seed from China that just wasn't able to pull the trigger smartly in the first round robin of the group stage, but they've been building since then in this first seed versus first seed battle.
And I really like that people sometimes forget
the Rise is going to be way too problematic. The thing about Rise is this champion, tankiness plus damage, so he becomes an extremely strong side laner if you're not like dominating him. Like just like a normal Rise, like that had like a good life, that had a good laning phase and like a good early game, it's so hard to beat.
Players are very, very new to this big of a
imagine this champion had guaranteed root, what is it, without needing to combo spells and also a shield. Just imagine. Guaranteed root without needing to combo a spell and a shield from using his passive.
Up now under pressure. And that is very heartening to see.
Oh, the kick.
There's the engage, the kick back. Mickey finds some damage on Dewey.
They can't counter.
Instantly thrown to the wall.
Kled's gonna ult. Kled ult. Oh, Kled ult didn't go through. Kai'Sa went in to buy time, bought enough time.
Goes forward. The final breath does nothing, and it's Chris that gets another. 2 quick kills to FPX.
And look what they could do with that quick shot. They get free reign over the map. The dragon should be in the hands of LWX and the rest of
Dragon free.
G2,
they're just slowly losing.
Retreat to their towers now.
The thing about G2 is they play the map in a very wide manner. And like SKT was like super slow. They were very sluggish, like setting up stuff. FPX, when G2 is playing the map in a wide manner, they're like, okay, we're gonna engage here. We're gonna do things here. And they're very decisive and they're so clean and so non-hesitant about pulling the trigger. I think G2's playstyle was naturally incredibly good versus SKT. It's not that G2's playstyle is bad versus FPX per se, but you're not gonna get away with being behind versus FPX the same way you got away with being behind versus SKT.
Nothing left for them to defend.
It's very much an every man for themselves when someone gets picked so quickly to open a fight, and there are more re-engage options available for FPX. We're mercifully
thanks for the raid, by the way, Ashley.
There's no Baron punish open for FPX. Here is the replay. So much lingering doubt in the fog, and very quickly, Mickey got the back.
Kick.
Tian is so good. Everyone highlights Doinb because of the champions that he uses. But remember, Tian was also added.
Buying time here, so nice. Allows like draws Caps' attention. Caps can't ignore the Kai'Sa. Caps can't go on the Kai'Sa. He's fucked one way or the other.
To FPX to start off their remarkable rise. He's able to get the kickback to start this whole play. And then, as you're talking about, the chase down there, Papa Smithy.
I'm a big fan of LWX leading with his face. He says, I don't care if I'm 4-kill Kai'Sa, I'll frontline, I've got the stopwatch, I didn't build this to save.
Oh, I love that, leading with his face.
Oftentimes, when as soon as you buy the stopwatch, you're like, I'm going to be pretty rich soon. I'll turn it into Zonya soon. I need to get the active usage now.
Exceptional lead here for FPX. 5,000 gold just before 20 minutes. And despite the fact that a recall's coming in from Crisp, G2 Esports have no idea. Look at what they have to deal with. 1-0-6, 2.5 items completed for DoinB. 2.5 plus that broken stopwatch for LWX at 4-0-5. And it feels like every time G2 have looked for an opportunity, their response has been equal or better from FPX.
And while FPX are super far ahead, 5,000 gold pre-20 will tell you
Like
that.
here. G2 setting up here something bot lane, right? Just look at FPX's reply and imagine SKT in this situation. FPX very quick to set up. They'll either go mid, or they'll send one person here, and as like G2's killing them, they'll engage on this side. FPX is like they're just so much quicker to pull the trigger than SKT was. So let's watch how it plays out.
Final tipping point is Baron. If FPX get Baron, this G2 comp doesn't have anywhere near the right amount of...
Okay, they just did something completely different. But you see what I mean regarding like they realize like G2's trying to spread them thin, and they're like, nope, we're not gonna deal with you, and they do something else. Like this is the play style that's so good versus G2 when you're ahead, like not getting like roped into them wanting to play the map wide.
Close the game. It's going to start it and take the fight if G2 come in.
Take a look at the minimap. Akali and Tristana are nowhere nearby. They were not invited to the Baron party. Now Mickey can get a multi-man knockup, which Perks can follow up on, but they're too late. They're too slow. And FPX, they get the Baron. They realm warp forward, and now Perks is the target. He gets a small knockup, forced to flash defensively. While that's going on, Wonder's pushing the bottom lane. FPX extend the gold lead even further. They are looking
G2 smartness is
not
not enough for FPX brute force.
FPX don't even lose a bottom outer turret.
This LPL trade's not stopping.
FPX is a very simple team, but they're an extremely effective team. So simple, so effective.
Chinese freight train was one of the big memes of Season 3 and Season 4, and it's rolling.
Taking me back.
It's rolling. Well, it's, you know, history lessons abound. We're trying not to think about 1 year ago today, effectively in the last World Final. But FPX look impervious to G2's strategies. They've called out and they've dealt with this Yasuo Gragas duo that so many other teams have rolled under the strength and pressure of. And suddenly, it really feels like G2 have one more roll of the dice, and even then, these are loaded dice to FPX.
Absolutely are, especially with one additional little quick stat.
I'm listening.
That was the fastest Baron of Worlds 2019, set by Fun plus Phoenix. This was always going to be a crazy
Oh, no pause, please.
final.
No pause, please. It's not a. There's no bug, you fans. Let the game play out. Okay, there we go.
FPL is the strongest region. If you look back over the last 2 years, 3 of the 4 big international victories came from the LPL.
Watching the first dragon.
Because it was so exciting.
G2 pulling a TL.
He does get it with the execution with his Spider Form Q, and the thing that's traded over is more gold and a favorable map state for FPX. Because they get the 2 kills, not only do they get that extra immediate value, but they were also able to get the turret plate off of bottom and push heavy.
And you just see the value of a Galio in both these plays. In the first play, the Gragas Yasuo level 5, so they don't have any zone control. In this play, Yasuo goes in, the Galio's there to cut off the rest, and that's why exit kills were possible for FPX.
Crisp has been so incredibly good for FPX, setting up a lot of these plays. TN has been so incredibly good setting up so many of these plays. In back-to-back replays, we see each of these 2 facilitator players being highlighted.
And as the play tail ended here, there's not really any passengers on this team. You know, Gimgoon has been really good in his role of not getting a lot of help in most games, game 1 an exception, and still flourishing. Has some very nice sidesteps on the GP, for example. So with no passengers, you start to reap the rewards as the pause does draw.
It does indeed, and as an up.
Okay, come on. Pause end soon.
Thank you very much. Quick
What?
shot while we
The
wait
pause
for league
extended?
officials to sort that out on stage with the teams. Gives us some moments.
The one thing about the pause that's really important is it can actually throw momentum and tempo off for a lot of teams. Like, you have to kind of get back into it. So the moment the game becomes on pause, you have to remind your team everything they need to be doing. And I'd actually imagine FPX is really good at something like that, like coming off of a pause, because they have someone like Doinby who is like an extremely vocal player and who knows how he wants the team to play. So I'd imagine like FPX loves pause situations.
Thank you very much, and we are right back into game. Tian will throw out the Sonic Wave just to catch you up. FPX have smashed this early game. LWX and Doinby, recipient of so many kills and assists, and obviously with the Baron, are now doing some work. Chris gets caught out by the ultimate. Tian puts so much damage on the Yankos and is turning around. Chris throws down the stopwatch, go right back into the heat of it.
Ugh.
Here come FPX over the wall.
Oh,
Heroes entrance
wait,
into-
who did he ult
right
towards?
back into the heat of it. Here come FPX over the wall. Heroes entrance into the river, and G2, they cannot find anything yet. They're chasing on Chris. They've got themselves finally one more kill.
Okay.
The temple comes up from Gimgoon.
Little
He
Clown
doesn't have the charge
Fiesta.
available. All of a sudden, Mickey-
People are split. Yasuo's not gonna get a knockup.
two,
Oh my god.
three. LWX
That's
can
over.
find the triple.
Wow, why did the fight turn out so badly so
Into the river,
quickly?
and G2, they cannot find anything yet.
Used a
They're
lot on
chasing
Chris.
They've got themselves
two bounces.
finally one more kill, but the temple comes up from Gimgoon. He doesn't have the charge available. All of a sudden, Mickey's
Oh, the EQ.
two,
The Rise
three.
EQ.
LWX can find the triple. Tian gets another. G2 are aced at 22 minutes.
And FPX will march down mid lane. Baron buff in tow. They will lay waste to these towers.
They laid waste to the enemies there. LWX is so damn fed on this.
Damn, that Rise
Kai'Sa.
EQ.
They'll barrel through, and because
If Mickey didn't cancel the Rise ult and just let them leave, that might have been better.
Find anything yet. They're chasing on Chris.
I wonder
They've got
where his
themselves
ult was
finally one more
targeted to. Oh, okay, so he was trying to go back. He was trying to let his team escape backwards.
kill, but the temple comes up from Gimgoon.
And it made Mickey re-engage.
Doesn't have the charge available. All of a sudden, Mickey's
Wow, that is actually
Two,
mind
three.
control.
LWX can find the triple.
Unlucky. Even though the European team had the river control, Doinby used his dark technology to mind control Mickey X.
Tian gets another. G2 are aced at 22 minutes.
And FPX will march down mid lane. Baron buff in tow. They will lay waste to these towers.
they laid waste to the enemies there. LWX is so damn fed on this Kai'Sa. They'll barrel through, and because it's early, they might not be able to close purely because the death timers are short.
It's a 10,000 gold lead already. And look at the members of G2 Esports faces on the player cams. They are grinning manically, sadistically, because they are understanding the situation they are in. G2 Esports have their backs pushed against the wall. There is no more room.
The Kai'Sa ult did look really weird.
Mistakes or any
I'd probably have to go
of
back and
comeback
check through
However, you also have to
Probie to figure out exactly what happened.
acceptance
But
of
the ult did
risk
look
and
really
go
weird from
for the
Kai'Sa.
opportunities that are presented to you, quick shot. Take your chance because you're so far behind. You need to make it work. That's why
Who's
they're
the
scrapping
target?
here. They know they have to.
So she has Plasma on 1-2. It can only either be Mickey X or... So it was on Mickey. She had Plasma on Mickey and the Plasma was running out. By the time she clicked ult, the Plasma ran out. But she did it on Mickey and it was on the edge.
Big punch, and they attempt to attack FPX while
It
they're split.
doesn't look like
This
she had a
moment
Plasma on Mickey because it
where
ran out, but
LWX
she
has a
had it
great
and it
dodge
just
with
barely
Kai'Sa
ran out.
killer instinct. But Chris already used the Galio ultimate, was almost an opening. They were able to get the Galio kill, but it bought time for FPX to collapse, and FPX do not let them get away.
And of course, that replay brought to you by Axe Gaming. What's your move? What's your move, Tian? Setting up LWX. It ends up being a trade of 1-for-1. Yankos escapes a few seconds longer, but Bear Trap on a rope will not pull him backwards. Now Caps, he steps forward, trying to get Skarl to run for the hills. Rocket jump.
Run, Skarl.
Not gonna find him just yet. I think that
Game's
round was
over.
interrupted. I think the
Game becomes extremely hard when both things happen, guys. When one team has a stronger team fight and they have the stronger split pusher. Those are the two biggest win conditions in League of Legends right now. And whenever both gets activated, the game becomes over. So the game was over like 10 minutes ago when Rise was stronger. Actually, the game was over after Dragon. That was the biggest point.
Jankos escapes for now, and Perks gets blown up where he stands. Caps will not be able to kill Gimgoon. He goes golden. The stopwatch saves him this time. Now Caps is in trouble. He gets chased down, run down. Not yet killed by LWX, but it will only be a few seconds longer. Jankos repels up, drops down. Chris continues to chase him. Goes golden. The stopwatch buys again. So much time.
I'm not sure that stopwatch is gonna help.
He gets the kill. LWX cannot find Caps, but Gimgoon may be able to. Last cone is available, and so will the rocket jump. Oh, Caps!
Wrong way, Caps.
Tian, and he will finally get taken down. 17 kills to 3. It's not done yet, Kobe, because Mickey's chasing Chris.
Action still going here. Quick shot. Root lanes for Rise.
Yes, screw it. Here comes Wonder.
You're trading yourself for a support. You're trading yourself for a support, Wonder. You traded yourself for a support and burn flash.
Wonder. Now, Perks is rezoning the fight. He's going to get taken down by Doing B. He gets the knockup. He can't even breathe one last time.
I guess the game is over.
At a 13,000 gold deficit, FPX are pushing the base.
They're pushing the limits of your large lungs over there. The Yakety sax music reverberating around the Accor Hotel Arena.
Perks is saying something. Perks, look at Perks and Cats. They're smiling and they're saying something.
Reverberating around the Accor Hotel
We just
Arena.
need to fix XYZ.
For FPX.
FPX are one win away from a world championship title.
Oh yeah, you guys can't see because my cam is on the left. Lol. But he was saying something. He was saying something.
FPX are 2-0 up.
Okay, so game 2, big takeaway for me is I'm seeing G2 play in a way that is very uncharacteristic of G2. Like, the dragon fight was so puzzling. After the dragon fight and after Kaisa got killed, you can see the big takeaways. G2 played terrible early game in this series, and they also had bad early game versus SKT. And the kind of the team FPX is, and the kind of the team that SKT is. FPX, they see G2 playing the map in a wide manner. They're like, what are you doing? We're just going to engage on you. We're just going to take Baron. We're just going to go mid lane. Like, they're very decisive. They are not... They basically are everything that SKT isn't. SKT, you play the map in a wide manner on them. They're like, oh, we have to go deal with this. We have to go deal with that. We can just keep scaling. We're ahead, guys. Calm down. No need to do anything aggressive. But FPX, they just pull the trigger, get stuff done. We are ahead. Let's force the team fight. So, yeah, huge difference in G2's semifinals opponent versus their finals opponent. So, yeah, let's go to game 3. Hey guys, it's the final game for FPX G2. Let's get started. FPX back on blue side, so draft is going to be so much harder for G2.
And they've even talked about in the past.
Let me lower the sound a little.
Blind pick a carry for Wonder in this matchup versus Gimgoon, because FPX do not look to have that be the priority for them on the Rift.
Syndra, Gragas, G2 banning Kiana. So, Papa Smithy and I had this huge discussion on Summoning Insight, whether or not G2 is going to be able to pick up Kiana or not. And if they're not able to pick up Kiana, it's going to be a huge problem. Well, this is showing G2 did not pick up Kiana, and it's a huge problem.
In the amount of ways that they can win.
Nautilus first pick. Nautilus first pick. Ooh. They can take Nautilus here. They can take Xayah here. So 3 power picks up. Nautilus, Xayah, right. Nautilus, Xayah, right. Whichever way G2 trades, G2 should get 1 for 2. Let's see what FPX ends up picking. Nautilus, Xayah, right. Nautilus, Xayah, right. Xayah first. Nautilus, right. Nautilus, right. Take the Nautilus, G2, deny it. There we go. Alright, so now this is a position where G2 has Rise and FPX doesn't have Nautilus, so I'm curious what FPX's answer into Rise is going to be.
Response to the Xayah first pick, though, it comes at the cost of the 2 most prominent Doing B champions.
Rise and Nautilus here. Potential flex
Lee again. 3 Lee games in a row, right? Damn, TM feels so comfortable on that champion.
Got Xayah, but again, only 3 games on the year for LWX, looking at summer season onwards. On that Xayah, no Rakan to pair with it. Let's see how the first round goes here, as Tian's going to stay with comfort on the Lee Sin.
It's worked for him so far this series. And with Karagas and Lee Sin taken off the table, does Jankos consider locking in a jungler
Thresh,
now?
okay.
Or what direction do they pivot? Maybe carry from
Well, let's see what they take. I'm super curious what FPX will take into Rise.
Priority on that early game for Jankos, which I think a lot of people are looking towards right now, since that has been the area to get the start of momentum for the game.
What are you
to
thinking?
determine
What are
the
you
way the
thinking?
series has gone. Or do you actually try and lock it in for Perks?
Yeah.
More bans?
I think Perks Ezreal has been his worst champion yet. I actually like his Varus. I don't think his Varus was that bad. I like his Yasuo, Xayah, Kaisa. Not much to say about those. Like, he's extremely good on both. The Ezreal pick, though, it showed in SKT where he kind of overreached on Ezreal, and it seems like it's a little bit outside of his wheelhouse and comfort level compared to his other champions.
Because, as you know, the Nautilus could very well be...
They have to now protect the Rice pick.
Caps' hands.
But Kobe, let's come back
Protect
to
the
one
Rice
of your
pick.
ponderings about the top lane carry. I spy with my little eye an Ezreal pick on the side of G2, which suggests you're not playing bot side, because Ezreal is, of course, famed for his ability to repel ganks 1v2 with Arcane Shift and his flash.
Rumble,
being
okay.
so maneuverable and hard
Rumble
to
into
knock
Rise
down.
can be a thing.
I think so far,
Rise is mana gated,
looking
Rumble
on
can
the
push
money,
up.
because if I'm G2, I'm going top side.
I agree, Papa, because
Olaf.
first, in order to top
Olaf
lane,
Rek'Sai
you
ban
need to lay a
again.
foundation to build it
Because
upon.
G2 likes a lot of AP solo laners, and Jankos... I don't think Jankos' at least is bad at all, but it's interesting to see FPX consistently deny Olaf Rek'Sai from Jankos.
It definitely is resource intensive. Let's see if they continue to ban out Rumble here, one of the champions that Join B specifically used in mid lane with the
It's gonna be a
Predators
Rek'Sai
to
ban
try
for
and
sure
push
for
and roam
FPX.
in effect. Specifically, funnily enough, Papa, the top lane.
Yeah.
And the question is, what do G2 then...
Rumble,
lock in?
Akali.
With Jankos,
That's your
once
bans.
we get into this phase
The
two,
Akali
the
into
options
Rise
would
isn't
be
even that
Rise
strong.
top or middle.
Wow, that's so
Even if
so
on
weird
the
for the
Funfos
bans.
decide to lock in. So what safe blind picks do we have? And you think Funfos would like to run?
I think when it comes to G2, firstly, the Rek'Sai was banned last time out when it's double AD banned, and it's going to
Okay.
go that way as well. So if you look at what he's played this tournament, we're kind of at Jarvan or the Elise that hasn't worked so far
Jarvan.
in this series. So I think it might have to be the AD choice here, and it is the Jarvan.
Jarvan into Lee is really awkward.
Jarvan-
Man, this is such a weird position to be picking Jarvan. You see the Lee, you see the Thresh, you see the Xayah, and you're picking Jarvan. As a jungle player, you're just like, not the best spot. Not the best position to be
We'll get
Jarvan.
those questions answered in just a moment. The gangplank for Gimgoon did a lot of work in game one, and it was gangplank into Rise as well. It was a matchup that Wonder was doing fairly well in the 1v1.
Papa made a really good observation because they have Ezreal. They're likely to play towards top side. Okay, Galio into Rise. That's his other pick.
FPX sent top side. Jarvan can level 2 gank, and it is a winning matchup for Rise.
Dude,
We're actually seeing the
Raven.
hover on the Draven for some more lane.
What's your carry pick into GP? You gonna show me that Vladimir? Vladimir not terrible here. There's a Galio, there's a Xayah. Vladimir rides with Jarvan. That gives you an insane teamfight comp.
Domination.
And the gauntlet has been thrown by FPX. They've got double globals that they can
No,
throw to
don't
that
do
bottom side
that.
of the map. It
Don't
is
do
FPX
that.
trying
No,
to
no,
use
no.
Gangplank and a
No.
mid-lane Galio for Doinby.
Cassio, okay, so
Meanwhile,
Rise top,
G2
Cassio
have
mid.
to lay it down. What's
Veigar
going
mid,
on?
Rise top. Okay.
That is the Veigar locked in. It has been a fringe pick here at the World Championship.
Chobi shows it, Doinby shows it. When you play versus these tank players, they'll consistently get priority on you mid lane, and it becomes so fucking hard to play when the mid laner is always moving around and preventing your side lane dives. So, a huge goal for G2 once again is Ride Jarvan diving Gangplank. It's gonna be really important they prevent the Galio from moving around.
But what do you
Please.
make of it, Papa?
Remember that started with a Draven hover, which means they were considering Ezreal.
The tank champions mid lane are actually so good in terms of providing priority and early game
This is another
skirmish.
one where if you consider put down the cage, hook someone into it, that's a whole lot of crowd control. So let's wait till 20 seconds to really fully put the picture together.
Definitely true.
Let's see how this Veigar works out.
Pushing that wave.
Regardless of when Veigar is good into Galio, if Veigar is going to get constantly pushed in by Galio, I think that's a huge problem.
There will be no twist at the end of this champion
The
select.
Galio moving around and protecting GP is huge.
With the baby cage from Veigar and the cataclysm from Jarvan, if they can't win the team fights, they sure as hell want to put walls up to prevent FPX steamrolling them.
What? Oh my god, that was one of the worst things I've heard, and it's the fucking finals. They picked Jarvan and Veigar so they can prevent team fights and put walls around themselves. Oh my god. Do you guys ever just use Veigar ult on top of yourself and prevent the enemy team from coming in? Do you guys ever just like Galley or Jarvan ult a tank to make sure people can't...
Disruption that those two champions will cause in these
What is this?
fights
Build a wall?
could be the turning point for G2.
But then Galio and Thresh have similar opportunities. We're shouting during this pick and
Production to Trevor 1.
It's gonna be an
Trevor 1,
interesting
please
to
stop
me.
saying stupid
Jankos
stuff.
has to be the MVP. He has the ganking jungler. He needs to get the ganking done.
He needs to be the summer split MVP Jankos. The man that once wore the moniker of the First Blood King. Here on European soil, the European champions carrying the hope of Europe. But the man on your screen, the dancing, singing Wonder Kid super carry from the LPL, wants to close this out 3-0, and we are moments away from what could be the final game of Worlds 2019.
Ding.
There is that Summoners Cup. We do hold out hope. We don't have a repeat of the 3-0 last year. This is going to be an awesome one.
Just very quickly, if you don't know the FPX story, we tried to talk about in the previous game, the experience of Fun plus Phoenix. Papa Smithy, you were talking about it in Drop. This is a team that has popped up on the international stage. They have 15 games played.
Wait,
across the
so
board.
none of them ever went to international tournament. But remember what chat said. What is it? SKT lost to G2 because of inexperience, because SKT had less international games played. Now FPX has some of the least FPX has the least number of international games played. Oh well, they're gonna start choking in game 3 because they're inexperienced.
The organization had a huge turning point once Tian and Duenby joined the organization, comparing their win-losses from 2018 to 2019.
And the freshness of these players to the international stage makes this performance and this dominance that much more impressive.
It's a 90% win rate on the regular season, and Doinby was asked about play styles and kind of understanding him. He said, every team that I come on plays a certain style. That is the FPX style, but it fits them so well.
And he brings something
Level
that's
1 invade on blue
incredibly
side bot.
important in Pro League. It's leadership.
Same things they've shown a lot
He joins
versus...
first now.
Oh, try to
Flash for flash.
try to predict the flash there.
Arcane Shifter, I think used there as well. Now the blue buff is under siege. Fun plus.
I generally agree with you guys that FPX is winning draft, but that's not a coach gap. That's player pulled gap a lot of times.
Some wiggle room on an Ezreal with that E.
But flash for flash, when G2 could have gone for a non-sided bot lane and went Ezreal bot so they could play top side,
I'm
means that
pretty
Silver on
sure
the weak side,
Grabs isn't
Ezreal
sitting there
goes
being
from
like,
being
let's not play
unflappable
Kiana, guys.
to potentially taken down. So there still is a reward there as Jankos going buff to buff.
Plus, this is very intentional from FPX. They're trying to split the map once.
Remember when last time G2 had the map split? Chris prevented the double golems? G2 should have done the same thing and prevented the Gromp, but they didn't. Like FPX getting away with stuff that G2 isn't.
Again, and we briefly talked about it last time, but this is what happens to the jungle when you do one of those early invades. It basically means you have to cross for the buffs, and you're going to leave behind.
That's going to be
one of
something
the
very
wolves
standard
that
that I feel like a lot of teams will doing.
experience. But the
When you
biggest
split the
effect of
map,
it
the
is not
support
on
messing with the
jungles
enemy
themselves,
jungler
it's
to
actually
make sure
on
they
those
can't get the
lane
second camp
matchups,
so
and
freely.
it's allowing that bottom lane where the flash discrepancy on the Ezreal is being pushed under the tower. Now the hook lands.
Oh man, that death sentence is fantastic.
Oh.
Making down to 100 HP. LWX and Chris have just been the superior 2v2 this series.
FPX open up a point to attack, and they're trying to just get the maximum out of this bottom lane advantage.
Perks actually spotted Tian with the Q.
Wave built, this is really problematic. Wave built up, Perks level 1, no flash, doesn't have E. When they crash it on the wave, potentially, G2 can be level 1 throughout the whole thing. Potentially Lee. Okay, Lee doesn't have a ward. If Lee can place a ward here, that's also really dangerous. Lee ward, Galio TP's on it.
There, positioned accordingly.
This is such a risky tower dive, and Perks and Mickey, they want to get away.
Just getting
Sonic
pushed
should
away
still
is
be
bad.
on cooldown, and the Demolish will allow some damage to this tower.
Minions
If they get
denied,
denied
the
XP,
melee
that's
goes
bad.
down. They're trying to
That's
zone them.
really
Even
bad.
from
Just getting denied
experience, are they gonna
XP.
make their way back in?
0 CS for Perks.
Really bad because Yankos also now had to come to bot side. He's coming to bot side where all 3 camps are gone. If Chris stays long enough where he gets Scuttle also, and then he's just doing rest of his camp, he puts himself so ahead of Yankos. Now bot lane fucked and jungle's also kind of fucked.
3.5 minutes into the game. Nearly
Even though no one died,
waves,
this is
and
still
Perks
really bad.
just gets on the board.
It fucks the jungler
He's
also.
He's CS-less, he's experienceless, and
Now it's affecting mid lane,
He's
yeah.
survived.
Both support and jungle being able to go mid. They're gonna be able to get Scuttle like we talked about. Yankos has no camps on bot side and he's on bot side.
We saw Yankos heading down after the recall on Jarvan, but FPX already pulled out of the bottom lane play. They let up on the pressure and actually turn towards mid lane so they don't get caught under the tower red-handed.
And Kobe, the decision making here was fascinating because
Realize not only did bot lane get fucked, jungle also got fucked, and also mid lane is getting out pressured by other people joining. So it's just a combination of everyone on the map is slowly getting fucked.
I was looking and saying, all right, red buff stolen, blue buff claimed. As a level 2 Lee Sin, because you can't actually get level 3 from the bot side of the jungle and started on blue buff, you can't really invade against the
Yankos,
Jarvan
oh my
because
god,
they're
you're
more
bot lane
red-handed.
when you can't be.
Instead, they make it about what they do have, the ability to zone away, the ability to deny the Ezreal, and instead they claim. in a
Yankos is actually
scenario
getting
where I
blown
think
open.
7, 8 out of 10 teams would have been 3 buff.
Now again, we talked about the pressure that transitions through Summoner's Rift. Now there is a big wave building up on top side. That's where your jungler has to be. Tien has already taken the Scuttle Crab and helping Gimgoon move up that wave, trying to take away the possibility of an answer from Yankos, the offensive gank from Jarvan. Now he's found him and they can feel secure.
Alright, picking a fight
Oh,
there.
Yankos got the camp, that's so good. If he didn't get that camp, that would have also been so bad.
All the way to his tower, still farming up with that.
Look at Tien skipping his camp and just playing on Yankos. This is what you do once you get ahead on jungle. Don't take your own camps and allow the other person to catch up. Like, be on top of their camps and make sure you keep denying them. You can't deny other people in lane, right? Other than like pushing them out of lane and forcing recalls. But from a jungle role, you can actually deny someone of XP and gold by just taking the camps away. That's why it's so much more brutal, and that's why it's so important to play towards your jungle.
Baleful strike. Now from behind, Crisp, no flash available. If the death sentence lands with the help of Tian, it might be enough damage. But obviously
Yankos
Galio
placing
is
wards, he knows is gonna get cleared out instantly.
This is why we keep highlighting Tian. He doesn't even go for the recall on Lee Sin.
Yankos can't even start his own camps.
Set these lanes up so they can fend for themselves.
Tien eventually has to back because he has so much gold, but yeah.
Pressure early, not even farm to level 6 like we so often see. Really impressive jungling performance here. The biggest delta between the two teams to me is the two junglers.
And it was what we anticipated. Tian has been one of the most impressive junglers all tournament long. And he's had a significantly bigger impact in the early stages than what Yankos has been able to do.
All right, now the big minion wave on bottom side allows FPX to get the recall off. Definitely a lot of vision here for G2.
Yankos just stuck sitting behind
And
laners.
they are going to do it.
Look at the vision control. G2 ward here, ward here, ward here. You can see like significant portions of the map being dark for G2. And Yankos has to kind of plan around the Lee. Because Lee could gank, he had to do the same thing on bot side too. He just has to burn so much time just to make sure he can give the laners the assurance that they're not going to get Giga opened on.
Okay, so 25 CS to 41. That's where Perks is playing with. Now it is matched in the top lane as Wonders 44 to 25. LWX comes back in with a TP.
And he comes back
Even
in
if the
with
CS is
the
evenish,
most combat stats
Tien's just
versus
having
the
way
least
more
combat
effect
stats
on the map than
and
Yankos
that's
is.
because Perks has been necessitated into bad back timings.
And let me highlight once again, Tian.
And this Ryze versus
Down
Gangplank
because
matchup,
there's a pushing minion
CS differential great, but if GP doesn't get dope, GP will be relevant. This is great, but they need that dive to take it over the edge.
bottom. So
We know how
every
this
time,
goes, Kobe.
exactly, every time they play with the waxing and waning of minion waves on Summoner's Rift, and so they don't lose out on any of those extra gold pickups.
And even though G2 prepped for it and tried to find counters, turns out you keep doing that, especially with the damage lead that the Xayah has. You just take L's incrementally again and again as this Ezreal, who's on welfare in the early game.
And this time we see defense from Jankos. Make sure that there's no dive possible. FPX just turn their sights towards the Dragon. They'll pick up the Mountain.
All right, Mountain Break uncontested
The
here.
Veigar pick's worthless right now.
FPX have been able to accrue.
So
Now,
much
we
control
haven't
coming
seen
out
too
from
much
other
of that
people.
top lane, but I do want to track it. Wonder is continuing to farm up as you somewhat expect in the early game. Gimgum has hit level 6, so if any of those bot lane plays come down, Cannon Barrage, Hero's Entrance, Perks and Mickey could be in a lot of trouble.
Definitely been the story throughout this series. What could be the possible changes here that G2 could throw into it, though? And those things come from mobility and crowd control. The reason this Veigar is picked is because of the AoE CC. We always see it with the
G2 needs to make something happen. They're slowly bleeding.
And set your team up.
And the expectation has been set where it's not like SKT series, where if G2 falls behind, they're not going to magically macro the FPX team. If any, nothing gonna happen from bot lane. I think it has to happen from top lane, but the thing happening from top lane, like mid and bot lane, it's so hard for G2 to make something happen. Like WX is level 6 while Perks is level 4. You're not gonna make something happen on Merc's Galio with a Veigar Jarvan. You need to make something happen top lane, but it is also a GP, and G2 just doesn't have vision, and FPX can easily track the Jarvan. Like when they're on blue and the Jarvan's not even contesting, they know Jarvan's top side. Like the tracking for jungler for FPX is so much easier, and they're just slowly getting to build their lead everywhere. But top lane, which is surviving, which is completely fine because it's GP. And then once Galio feels free enough to roam versus Veigar, that's where game blows up.
To start the snowball in their favor.
While there's the S word, scaling on Rise, on Veigar.
Don't
late
trust the
game looks
scaling.
Good. We've learned that the meta in 2019 isn't about scaling. It's about being forced into a decision again and again, and making no play is often
Perk's
worse
getting
than
pushed
making
out
a bad
still.
play. Right now they haven't
This
been
is what
able
we
to
were
find
talking
extra
about.
job
Once
in that
Galio
position.
starts opening up,
With the
Galio's
zone
starting
off,
to
that's
open
three
up.
plates done in an instant.
And just count the objectives that FPX get with this big minion wave. They get multiple turret plates. They deny CS from Perks.
They're gonna get turret.
They also are going to get the whole thing. That's first turret bonus.
Yeah, absolutely beautifully played here by FPX. No jitters, no nerves. They get that flash from Perks, and they just keep twisting the pressure until the tower breaks.
Not even
Now,
10
some
minutes.
kudos to Perks and Mickey. They did play respectfully and defensively. They didn't give up.
Also, this timing is really nice, like 8 minutes and about 3-minute 45 for Dragon. That means Dragon spawns at 11:45, Herald will start at 10 minutes. So now FPX can swap top side, take Herald at 10 minutes, and then swap down bot side later for Dragon. They're just in such a comfortable spot.
But when you're down 1,000 gold in your penultimate or final game, it is a problem.
Even objective
Exactly.
timer is
All
working out
season
so
long
nicely
from
for FPX.
in the LPL. Once again, LWX, richest man on the Rift.
He is for sure, and all of that from a flash for flash. That was the right call. If you can get the 80 carries flash, an 80 carry you know wants to play without jungle help in an Ezreal, then you just can get cascading advantages. And it comes back to what I was mentioning about how things are in this meta. G2 haven't got anywhere to target, haven't got anywhere they want to fight, and they keep losing and not claiming anything for themselves.
I would say the one
10-minute Herald into about 12-minute Dragon. Watch out for that, guys.
There's an equally big CS lead growing for this Rise, and we always mention, the Rise matchup into Gangplank. He's been doing a very good job of trying to get that, while FPX have been able to get a big lead on bottom. Wonder should be the point for G2 to mount the counter attack. The Rise.
GP bot lane versus Ezreal, thank you very much. Rise versus 2 people where GP can ult top lane and get dope, no thank you. This lane setup's garbage for G2. Rise or GP ult with Galio moving means Rise gets shoved off, GP gets a free farm lane versus an underfed Ezreal. This is actually so bad.
And that's why you can see FPX attacking him in the top lane. After that first
Once
tower
Galio
fell,
opens up
just
and the
to let
Rise
you
ult
know
falls
that
down
was
top
the
lane.
Fastest first tower of Worlds 2019. just in the previous game, FPX set the fastest Baron of Worlds 2019, and FPX may want to set another record winning this final. They're putting pressure on the top lane tower, and there's no initiation just yet.
Attack the winning lane. No longer does Rise get to just wail away on a GP, and remember, GP has his ult.
Galio moving
on
first.
bot
There
lane
finally it is.
against the Ezreals.
Really dangerous for Veigar to ever move with the Galio. When Galio's in a brush and the Veigar doesn't see him, Veigar has to call Galio Mia, but Veigar can't check into the brush. What happens when Galio and Lee are both Mia and Veigar goes to check in and Galio Lee jumps to Veigar instead? Caps is not in a position where he can walk up first.
Always outnumbers. Here we go.
Yankos, he failed
Ugh.
flashes. He hits the wall.
He failed flash, but he still lived,
Trades a
luckily.
flash for a flash, and Yankos is able to escape for now.
Now proper lane setup finally, as we're back to top side, they at least avoided the timing where GP can ult and they get dope and they can't do anything about it.
Lane swap once again. Perks uses the teleport up to top side to equalize, and they're sending Wonder bottom. This is in preparation for the possible play around Rift Herald. We're entering 10 minutes, it will spawn, and this opens up G2 with the extra teleport on Rise. They can actually go for an answer.
Reads so
10-minute
much
Herald.
into that
Remember what we
face
said?
plant flash from Yankos.
There it is, right on time.
Somewhat run around in circles.
It's Tanner time,
Considering
boys.
His team is down 1,000 gold already. We've just crested the 10-minute mark, and that Rift Herald has been set up, it has been secured, and it is safe for FPX.
No kills on the board, but it's so hard for G2 to contest when they haven't got their scaling down. And remember that FPX got advantages with globals. And that doesn't usually happen because you usually sacrifice globals, long cooldowns, for just other stats. You pay for having AoE globals especially, and neither of them have been used. Therefore, G2 have to continue to cede advantages.
That is such an early Rift Herald for FPX that they will get immediate gold out of it. Yep, Tien immediately just pops on top side.
Use it top lane. Lee Sins hate holding Herald because it messes with your word jump because it doesn't allow you to trinket. So whenever Lee gets Herald, they'll use it especially quickly comparatively. Boom. 10 turret plays taken so far.
Up 20 CS already. Perks and Mickey trying to do what they can to push back the siege from FPX, but they are faltering and falling behind.
20 CS and at least a share in 10 plates at 11 minutes in the game.
G2 have not threatened the GP once. If you can play GP like this and never get threatened to dive, then I mean you can do that all you want.
We're a few minutes away from that record, and G2 will want to secure it because they need some bonus gold back. They need to get themselves back into this game before it runs away.
The gameplay that's never touched.
Yeah, there you can say that again.
GP's down 40 CS, but that doesn't matter that much because GP's a little bit different in terms of he scales much harder and he also earns a little bit more gold than other champions due to like how his passive and barrels work in terms of getting a little bit additional gold. It's not a lot, but it definitely helps. But the scaling part is huge, where if you don't blow him out, like he's always going to be a monster.
Securing the second dragon of the game, G2 Esports has been pushed further and further behind. No team in the history of League has been able to complete the Grand Slam. G2 are not looking likely of being the first one able. RNG faltered, SKT faltered, and right now, 12 minutes.
Well, G2's never been in control of the game once for Game 3. There's not one moment where I can point to and be like, oh, G2 was in control here.
From ahead, they could use the Gimgoon ult to stop Ezreal from getting more turret plates on the top side. Galio teleports in there. Thing about
Just from start to
Veigar
finish,
Caps,
complete
more
FPX
safe
control.
In the early game, they haven't been able to play through it. Doinb just wants to wave clear, buy time for the plates to go down.
Right, just a reminder, the latest first blood, small correction from earlier, 15 minutes,
TP,
22
just this
seconds.
TP being burned itself is bad.
Now 13 in the game, Caps TPs to the top lane. Realm Warp is now coming in behind the tower, and Wonder will not be able to find any follow-up.
They're only replaying, only replaying.
The pressure point for G2, plus 40 CS in the top lane. Kobe, and as it stands, he needs to find a way to bring G2 back into this game.
And look how much power FPX are bringing to the map. That was literally just Chris roaming up with the Moby boots on Thresh, forcing out 2 big cooldowns from G2. They had to make 2 rotations, teleport from mid, as well as the Realm Warp coming through, just to stay even in the map state.
G2 can get exclusive vision on an area, then suddenly the Nautilus Veigar will have a lot of zone control, but so behind in map control that it's more about pick wards. The Crisp to try to get an initiation, that's just been unleashed on the map, and that's why you just have so much ability
Jesus.
as LWX to push up and even greed for a turret play, just as the turret plays full.
Don't be showing up behind. What can Nautilus do? What's Nautilus doing to Galio? Barely didn't even. Well, he actually did not even break the magic shield from Galio.
First blood. True shot barrage comes out. LWX gets tagged. The death sentence pulls back Mickey. He escapes with his life.
Woo!
First blood to the first blood king from Europe. But what more can they get? Wonder continues to chase. Remember, the Realm Wolf is on.
This was a death zone. FPX should have never played in there. Good punch from G2. Look at Tien right here. This is actually over aggression. He's like, look, I'm gonna shoot a Q at Veigar. What are you doing? Tien troll him. This is a death zone. Never ever fight there. One of the most narrow corridors in the game. Like, look at how long this narrow corridor is. Like, FPX was trolling trying to fight in this corridor.
Is on cooldown. Mystic Shot will not find a target as the Arcane Shift sends Perks over the wall. G2 get one back.
And Caps is able to make the pick. The Glacial Augment slowing them down long enough for G2 to get some money in the bank.
FPX weren't in position to use their globals that time. Gimgoon's ult just about to come off cooldown. You're right, the slowing field is what leads to hesitation for once, and LWX being chunked means that he takes the safest route and doesn't put out damage.
And follows it up with the stun on the Veigar cage, getting the kill. Galio ultimate also used, so when we get back to live, you have to count your cooldowns.
After that kill, Paris is ignited. 11 plates to 2. I am a little bit more of a pessimist in real life and don't yet share the hope that is felt by the Parisian crowd. G2 Esports have 2 minutes until the next Infernal. And that 1,500 gold lead does feel less bad the longer we go into this game. That dirty S word that you were talking about,
Scaling.
Papa Smithy, of scaling, it can come to help G2 if they stay this close.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot of help though, Quickshot, because LWX is window shopping right now, and he's eyeing that Infinity Edge, and he is very close. One more paycheck, one more recall, he gets Infinity Edge, and then because LWX has gotten so much money funneled into him, he can even afford an early QSS.
And it's worth mentioning that G2's comp doesn't chase very well. Veigar wants people coming to him. His range on his event horizon is relatively short. So with the fact that they're behind, smack down the control wards and you're probably fine as FPX for quite a while in this game.
And so important to note the tools that LWX can use with that ultimate, with that flash to get away some of the key initiation. The Dark Matter gets thrown down into the river. So 1 minute until Dragon. You can already feel FPX cheating towards that bottom half of the map. They're pushing
Let's
their vision
see.
forward. Kobe
I just don't see a way. Remember what we talked about? Ryze is the strongest split pusher to GP, but not by much, and Ryze can't split push when they're losing so much of the map control. G2 can't get the infamous Europe river control.
Do you think they try to contest this next one? They've conceded the last few.
I would actually expect G2 to attack the opposite side of the map and get the Rise into top lane to get that last outer turret solo gold. If you can get Wonder more fed, Papa Smithy's talking about, you know, the power and side lane Rise later in the game in splitting the map. Yes, you have to deal with Gangplank and Galio ultimates, but you have to play off of your strengths.
You reach a point in this game where both Galio and Gangplank will be exposed by the champions in the solo lanes of G2. So that's what you want to get to as fast as possible. But these moments where you're setting up around the Drake do at least not cede advantages to FPX.
10 seconds until Drake. LWX has not gone shopping. He does not have teleport available. So that Infinity Edge and QSS you were talking about, Kobe, is not yet activated. Hero's Entrance is available for Doinby. Cannon Barrage is available for Gimgoon. And Gimgoon is coming from base. There is a lot of damage.
This is a dragon. This is selling dragon for your soul situation again. You get the dragon, but you lose the fight after. Don't sell your soul, G2. Wonder has to start casting ult as soon as this dragon's about to die.
Infernal burn it down to 2000 HP. Here comes Tian. We're into a smite fight. It's secured by Jankos, but Doinby
Okay.
gets the kill. Now
You sold your soul. You sold your soul.
They get out.
Thank God they made it out.
For Infernal.
Hashtag side of G2. They take an Infernal under the nose of FPX.
That could have gone so much worse. Just one death for Dragon is one of the best trades G2 could have gotten.
As Jankos gets kicked out of the pit, he's able to land the smite, and even though he goes down, G2 will take that because of the scaling that they're trying to lean on. In the end, though, FPX are able to clean another G2 member off the map.
And these are the windows we alluded to, the no IE being done.
Kick.
LWS late to the picture here. You see the
Oh my god, he smited while he was getting kicked.
you have to flash before you
Sweet.
drop down as the Galio. So it looks a bit different. They don't get the full CC direction.
And when they're getting the ult off.
Works from the grave for Jankos.
I did more than hold my breath, Kobe. I clenched as well, but Jankos gets the secure. And G2 are still 2,000 gold down. The only kill accrued.
Oh, he parked GFD. Whew.
And Perks now finds himself in a
Well, I'm surprised Gimgun didn't go in on that. Okay, he doesn't have ult.
helped out and
Good catch on Chris.
to kill onto Chris. Perks has got flash available to him. Teleports
Oh, it's a
straight.
2v2.
The
It's a
barrel
2v2.
lands onto Gimgun.
2v3 actually.
Finishes the teleport, but that's gonna be a taunt. It's
Tienda, do you have kick? Oh, no kick. No kick. This is winnable. This is winnable. Winnable.
now the target. Gets tagged.
1-for-1 trade at the very worst. Okay.
It's a trade of 1-for-1, but teleports were committed, and G2 are now on the offensive.
Remain on the attack, Trevor. They're still looking to create plays. And after this, they're able to force them back. It looks like they're going to roam into the river and go towards mid rather than trying to push down this turret.
2 games ago, Papa Smithy, you called it. G2 will not go quietly into the French Knights. They continue to find opportunities to fight, and they want to extend this series.
And when we get the replay, you see one of the shortcomings of FPX
Oh.
is that they look at what resources they have and say, we could get a kill here. They don't always respect enemy TP timings, and they were just outnumbered on the play.
And highlighting the
This
deep
is probably the
competition
best
against
state G2's
and the
been
Vanguard.
in all
let's
3
actually
games.
Take a look at what happened after the initial pick. It is
Especially 'cause they have
FPX
Ryze in a good
counterattack,
spot, that's
but
really
you know
big.
that G2 have the extra champion advantage, so there's a time limit on this FPX play. And because Wonder delays that long, it means there's a counter kill for G2, and in the end they go 2-for-1. FPX starts
Ryze is in a nice spot. GP isn't out of control. No TP, no TP. Ryze using ult. Ryze used ult.
Jankos escapes a hook, but he gets caught by a barrel. Chris
Oof.
is locked down, but
He might still get stunned coming out.
There was fire too early. G2 have
Okay,
been
okay.
able to thwart the
Ryze doesn't have
play,
TP, so he
and that
can't
will be enough for now.
split as well as he wants to right now. Wow, this game's actually super fucking tight. There's a problem later on with Ezreal dropping off and Xayah not dropping off, and GP Ryze kind of normalizing out. Veigarth always should be a little bit more useful than Galio, Jarvan also, so G2 has a slight lead in scaling.
Pick potential that they drafted for, right? This is the pick that is
Yeah, the gold lead's slowing down, and also the later the game goes, like the Ryze becomes a fucking monster, and there's so much melee champions where Ryze can really take over the game.
supposed to be the surprise twist at the end. With that and a Nautilus, you have a lot of potential of trying to pick off those members. Again, Crisp is always the target.
And you see the vision here? This is exactly what you want, because remember that Event Horizon is an entire choke that you can't contest the Baron from. So getting Baron vision when they feel strong enough, and then forcing FPX to check, that's exactly how G2 find a Baron.
Meanwhile, looking from FPX's side, the Infinity Edge was completed by LWX, and they have the possibilities of this Galio ultimate to answer. So it's much more about the counterplay rather than setting up an offensive look.
You can see Caps right now stepping
we go.
forward, throws out the spooky ghost. The
Whew,
top
that
down
chunk.
goes down as well, but he held on to primordial boost. Jankos has locked down Doinb inside the Cataclysm. He now is the target. That's a body block from Wonder. Steps in front of the Justice Punch, but the death sentence is amazing. He is caught. Chris, that was fresh and clean, but G2 aren't done.
Wow, that actually could have gone so well for G2. Starting on Doinb, blocked. Oh my god, if this goes through, then you can't lantern through. The cage was a little bit too late. He could have gone through. And then Mickey X getting hooked at the end.
Mickey is caught. Chris, that was fresh and clean. But G2 aren't done yet. They're putting pressure into the tower. The Event Horizon blocks down some, but they kick back under the tower. Tian gets blown up, but he secures a kill into Wonder. It's not done yet as Gimgun is now stepping forward. Cannon Barrage will come up and available in just a moment. The Super Soaker is thrown out by Caps, but there's no follow-up damage. Gimgun is being zoned away by Jankos.
These pushes are being played around
Oh.
the cooldown of the event horizon from Veigar. You can see
G2 finally getting grasp on the game.
Counterattack is after that is used in mid.
One thing that's kind of troll for me is Rise doesn't have Mercs and he went Ninja Tabby. No Mercs versus Galio, Zaya, Thresh is hella troll.
And G2 are able to force another tower kill for themselves. Here's the first
This is where Veigar's OP, right? People can't lane versus Veigar. Veigar just walks up to you and cage.
LWX and then switch focus over to Doinb. Jankos also able to interrupt here, and even though through, it's actually a
The hook missed and also the cage missed. They really wanted to cut off Doinb there.
under the tower and forcing this opportunity.
Each of these fights played on the finest of margins. So close to this flank here, and even the flanking barrels from Gimgoon making a difference.
That replay brought to you by Axe Gaming. What's your move? G2 keeping themselves in it. The Drake, I think,
Doing it again.
completed there by Perks. True Shot Barrage is on cooldown, but the Dragon is secured. 5 members of FPX are in the pit. Teleport is coming down. Baron is available for the taking, and it will be secured by Tian.
FPX's pressure on Baron is so much.
The Winds of War come out, and as the feathers fly, they're pulled backwards. That lands a route onto Mickey. Hero's entrance is the escape route for...
So usually like G2's thing is playing the map in a wide manner, but they're forced to burn TPs. So they can't do the usual Baron play they want, or they give up Baron a little bit more than other teams. You also saw that versus SKT. But now here's the problem. Like FPX knows how to use Baron, so let's see what happens.
2 and B, they get Baron, they get out. That was beautiful.
Look at the coordination on that call. They preemptively talk about, I'm laying the lantern here, go into the pit to then ultimate out, and they make sure every member of FPX leaves wearing purple.
I love the geometry kind of plays they do about attacking every angle, opening up space, leaving the Galios the tasty treat to ult out. There was just no way to punish for G2.
You can literally see the communication and the forethought from FPX as the game is playing out here. And now, what will they do with the Baron buff? Mid lane has an outer turret left standing. They can just try and send Galio here.
G2 knows the situation's going to be really hard.
To be able to clean up the AoE.
And I'm trying to see a moment or two ago.
The thing is, like, Rise can handle the Gangplank. I want to see what happens if Rise is 1v1 versus the Gangplank. He has Ninja Tabby, so I'm sure it's going to be better than normal. But the problem is, like, the Galio Lee and the map state, where the map state is not going to be good enough for the Rise to be able to split push the way he wants.
Papa Smithy, you talked about how G2 don't really chase particularly well. They're hoping that GLP and the Spooky Ghosts will do something. But now, fortunately, FPX have to come to them with Baron and Part Minions with the ability to siege and to push forward. Maybe G2 can find opportunities. Gimgoon is waiting in the wings.
FPX have to seed, and they have to give respect to this push because they don't have the Galio ultimate yet. It's a few more seconds left on cooldown, and they don't have the positioning.
Running through mid lane really gets nothing. You cannot get through what is kind of a freeze scenario with Veigar having Event Horizon every minion wave and just having a super low range comp again. It's been FPX's story the entire time. They never play range
Keep
comp.
looking at Tian. I'm looking.
Melee mid laners. So
Oh, he
because of
didn't
that,
recall.
they're
He
gonna
just
find
sat there.
3 lanes to really get Baron value.
And thank you to the observers for highlighting the vision difference there. G2 Esports just trying to cover the mid lane river entrances, and they don't have particularly deep vision. While they were just waiting in the wings, Doinb is able to push all the way to top inner, get a lot of damage down, and while G2 are responding, it'll open up the ability in the mid lane for FPX to push.
That timing window we talked about, quick shot, is almost up. FPX trying to collapse here now. G2, will they get him?
Oh, is he going to kill Caps?
The minimap at
Oh, he missed. Oh, wow. They got the kill anyway, but the combo he was trying to do is Q, War Jump, RQ. It's like the insta-kill combo.
And the teleports now come in. This could be it.
He missed a Q, but he still got the kill. He just alley-ooped it too. Perks is dead there, nowhere to go. Bye, Perks.
He's got low mana and he can't find anything. Tian takes him down.
Ugh.
Phoenix, accelerating ahead. Nearly 5,000 gold.
Observers once again show the true genius of the FPX plan.
The support jungle's way too good.
Wonder,
Makes it too easy on the team.
Flash, Hughes, and FPX, they want to lift the cup.
Behind enemy lines, the picks there were obscene. Tian kicking the Veigar to his death. Meant
Oh,
no
is this
delay. They're
over?
gonna break the base on this Baron.
I don't think it's over, but I don't think the game ends here, but the game is realistically over.
G2 Esports down 5,500 gold. The hope of Europe, the hope of the Grand Slam, and it is fleeting and flying away as FPX are crushing them.
There's nothing proverbial about that dagger through the heart. It was clear. Watch the replay. Tian has been behind enemy lines for so long as G2 come to try to kill the Galio, and once again the communication is real. He finds
He missed the cue, but still,
it's
yeah.
alley-oop.
Alley-oop to Doinby.
Yeah, I was skeptical
My
that
exact
enough
wording,
damage,
alley-oop.
to finish it off since the second
Alley-oop.
wave doesn't hit, but Doinby just dunks him there. And then you can see the plan come to fruition for
Ding, ding,
FPX.
ding.
This is what we are talking about. They pull together the collapse. Tian actually able to safeguard away from Mickey's hook, and then Perks is left by himself, isolated, where they thought that G2 were the ones springing the trap.
The G2 story all year was no man left behind, styling as a 5-man group, but it's been FPX in this best of 5 who have been more on point in moments like that. Very equal damage share coming through, as you were kind of talking about there, Kobe. They don't really have a massive damage dealer when Zaya's been zoned pretty frequently. Here we go.
All right, there's the engage. Event Horizon and Cataclysm. Perks escapes over the wall, but Mickey's the sacrificial lamb. Doinby goes down. It's Perks to get the kill. Now Kimgoon's going low. True Shot Rush flies across. But G2 Esports are buying time. Keep your eyes on the minimap. Super's pouring in the base.
That kill just earned them survival in this series. Quick shot. G2 fight to live another day. They get a critical pick when there are very little windows to go for, and they're able to take down Doinby. That means they're able to reset off these super minions. What can they actually complete, though?
We'll lose the Mountain Drake, but
The game's over. G2's gonna be forced into base. FPX has better team fight. I don't see how they come back.
You gotta pick your battles, you gotta get the most you can, and just living, just hanging on in this best of 5 was honestly the most G2 could hope for.
Yeah, and what can they complete? Not that much, right? You know that FPX are going to reset, and they're going to come knocking once again. This time, with super minions flooding in topside again, with the weakened Nexus turrets as well, you can't let that go on for very long. Baron will be spawning in 38 seconds. Let's see about the transition of wards into the next team fight area.
We should mention, this is probably the strongest point in the game for FPX. Relatively, it feels like every other 1,000 gold to G2 with their scaling is going to put them more and more into a scenario where they can fight. So they may be down 5,000 gold, but every 1,000 gold from here is better spent by G2 compared to FPX.
Tian, that leash.
Oh,
Wow, the leash failed.
They're trying to make a play in the fog of war. They have to hope for some member of FPX to be straggling and then take surprise once again. But that Scryer's Bloom gives up the whole game.
5 seconds till Baron is
There's no way G2 can contest this Baron, and they also can't give it. Game is so fucked. Can't contest, can't give.
He's starting to make his way up. FunPlus haven't even hesitated. They're already on the objective.
G2 have only one controller. They have to use the Ezreal ult to check here. Baron at half health.
All right, True Shot Barrage goes up. Death Sentence lands onto Yankos. He caught out by the box and the play. He goes in with the Cataclysm and hops right back at the Baron. Is the target, and it will be
Oh, Yankos has... It's over. Boom. 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 Ezreal trying to do damage. Can't do shit. Game over.
2 members of G2 are left to fend off 4 from FunPlus Phoenix.
FPX are headed straight for that Nexus, and it's only Wonder and Perks left standing.
FunPlus Phoenix are looking to silence the haters and stun the world with their own style of League of Legends. They are pushing onto the
Wow, I didn't think it would be this brutal. When I saw 3-0, I thought it might be a close 3-0. It wasn't even close. FPX's early game was just so much better. Wow, G2 actually got shown up a lot in terms of early game and in terms of level 1s. I never thought that would happen. Oh my god, Doinby wife checking her phone. She's like, what's world prize pool again? She must probably be tweeting a reaction or something, or taking photos. Damn. I'm props to G2. They've been graceful losers, from what I've seen from Twitter.
world champions. And today, Fun plus
And this,
Phoenix
like,
are the 2019
this series really showed how important support jungle in early game is. All of G2's strength got neutralized so much, and I think things that are more important this season more than ever, draft, support and jungle, and level 1s. I think these three were more important than any fucking other season. Props to FPX, they deserve it. They fully deserve it, and I'm glad someone like Doinby played his own style of League of Legends and proved his value and proved his worth in ways that other mid laners haven't. I hope you guys enjoyed my finals review. I'll probably do a mini series on why G2 lost this and go over like the big factors that I mentioned, so watch out for that on YouTube. And also I'm going to be covering off season a lot, so check for those videos also. And one last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just Loco. Later.